Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Pick a Side podcast. My name is Moran and I'm here with River Brown and Velez, and this is now episode 198. In this episode, we are going to talk about the Celtics wanting to trade for Kevin Durant, ranking the top 5 players coming back from injury, teams interested in Donovan Mitchell, best NBA free agents available, Bucks signing Julio Jones, Tyler's weird contract clause, and more. A quick YouTube member and Patreon shout out to The Real Zaytay, Kakompo, Prelo, King J, Phantom Wolf, Danko Hawkins, Matthew Jimenez, Hash Brown, Zaytay, Drew the Goat for real, Doug, Laurent, King J, Dixon, Demetrius, Dayton, Riv, Curry, Kawhi, Ryder, Armin, Nico, Ben, Musty, Dominican Dells, Jaron, Nick, Vincent, your local bronze sexual, Jordan, Tua is amazing, love you, Drew, Traylon Burks, Rookie of the Year, MG Nas, UK Bulge, J Love Clear, Zach W, Cole, Darius Garland's next, Nazir, Dwayne, Riv has massive glutes, Travis, Drew's the GOAT, Holmes, your boy Nick, Jake the Snake, Corrupt, Dylan, Afosa, Mason, I be kissing dudes and shit, Gentile, Drew, Cade, MVP, SP4Z Shot, Jordan What, Evan, Yo Riv, can I hit? Joel is the GOAT, Mayo, Andre, Peter, Daniel, Ben, Ruthless Rootster, Dives in Deep, Kill Moves, Joel B, Eagle Dollar, Corey, Get Funkoed, Dylan, Dom, Orlando, Big Chuck, Hooked, Cole, Liam, T Grove, Tua Sucks on Ka, Ryan, Epic Lankiness, It's Black Ace, BJ, PJs, Langston, Jazzy Juice, Johannes, Dave, Muffins, Sean, Burner Hoops, Court Cousins, P. Dot, Akari, and J Aqua.
Good old J Aqua.
The names weren't as crazy this time around.
Riv's massive glutes. How that would make you feel, Riv? Nah, these are ridiculous.
And today on the show, we have a special guest, Jason Preston.
Yes, sir. Yes,
plays
sir.
for the Los Angeles Clippers. You are the first NBA player we've ever had on the podcast.
That's dope, man. Y'all probably get a lot more. It's a nice. I'll just like see y'all on my timeline a couple of times. I get a nice part.
But you'll never be forgotten, man, because you're number one. We appreciate that.
Yeah, that's a fact. I saw you on TikTok and just talking basketball. What made you want to start a TikTok? You just wanted to start talking basketball and interacting with fans more?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I see like all these stuff like, the Draymond Green podcast and the Duncan Robinson, JJ Redick stuff. And really like what you guys got going on is what I used to have with like my boys like back in like middle school, high school, and stuff just didn't really like, fall through. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to find a platform where I could just say what I want about basketball, like whether that's breakdowns or anything. Once I find like my niche and what exactly I want to do more, it'll probably be easier. But it's just a quick and easy like little method. A little platform to try.
It's just a matter of being consistent. That's it. And finding like you said, finding your niche. It takes a little bit of time, but once you find that, it's just gonna get easier and easier from there.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, like people have probably talked about your amazing story a million times now, but you're somebody that averaged 2 points per game in high school. You walked on to college at Ohio, and then you happened to get drafted in the NBA. Like, just talk about how that process was, because I'm definitely interested in hearing it from you firsthand.
I mean, I can say the whole thing, but you got like a specific question on it, or like, do you want me to just say the whole thing?
You can say the whole thing. We have time.
All right. So yeah, like I was playing high school ball. Just fast forward to like junior year. At this point, my mother had just passed away. This is junior year. I'm on JV past 2 years, freshman, sophomore. Then I'm on the varsity team. Actually, funny, the JV coach got bumped up to the varsity coach. So like I'm thinking I have a good relationship with him. I might be able to play a little bit. Ended up not really happening in my junior and senior year. Like I didn't really play a whole lot. Never really started a game besides senior night. So that time I'm like thinking about like jobs I gotta get. Like, but I wanted to stay within basketball. So I was a huge Detroit Piston fan growing up because that was my mother's team that we watched together growing up. So I became like a Piston powered writer I started doing some like blogs for them. I got on Bleacher Report a couple times. So I was gonna like try and be like a journalist type guy. So I applied for UCF because I'm from Orlando. I got in. I was gonna do journalism there. Like I literally was already by this point I graduated high school. I'd already enrolled. I'm already enrolled in summer classes. Like I'm literally taking summer classes at UCF. But then one day in like July of that summer, my friend he's here for like an AAU tournament, and he asked like he says he needs another player because only 4 guys he had. I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll play. So I ended up playing. Turns out it's like a pretty big tournament. Uh, we ended up doing a tournament after this, but it was the hoop session in Georgia, and then it was like at the Disney Wide World Sports in Orlando, and it was pretty big tournaments. But I ended up like playing really good. I mean, it was really fun because uh, I just played the whole 40 minutes. We probably won some games we weren't, but like we were in a like I said, we were in a pretty good bracket. We're playing some pretty good teams. There were a lot of coaches at each game, and yeah, I was playing really really well. A couple D2s reached out to me. In fact, like something I don't really say a whole lot, but I was this close to signing with this D2 called Lincoln Memorial. It's like one of the top D2s in the nation. But then another guy hit me up and was talking about you should go to prep school, which is basically like a 5th year of high school. So
Mm-hmm.
like you can possibly go to the Division I program. So after thinking about it a lot, I ended up going to the prep school. I start there. Turns out this prep school is unlike any other prep school. There's like 80 kids there. There's like 5 different teams, including the high school team. The guy who actually brought me into that prep school, because I'm from Florida, I was supposed to go to a prep school in Florida. He moved to this prep school in Tennessee, which he said was a whole lot better. After 2 weeks, he ended up leaving too. I think there was something like wrong with he wasn't getting paid enough. But now I'm at this prep school, I don't really know anybody. I don't know a whole lot of people. Um, so they ended up like after a couple open gyms, they ended up like breaking up the teams. I was on like the first team to start, but I wasn't playing a whole lot, and that's not what I want. I didn't want to just go through high school again. So I asked if I could play like one of the lower teams, like it's like the third best team, like a T team. It was with 2 of my best friends I developed like as I was there. Played there, played really well. I think I like opened some eyes to a couple coaches. As the season went on, I got bumped back up to the A team, and we finished the season pretty well. It was like a really good year. I think we were like 32-8 or something like that. We had some really good players
Nice.
too. It was a really good team. Um, then like as the season was ending, I realized I don't have like a mixtape, I don't have film or anything that coaches could see. I asked, there's this guy who records like all of our games on the iPad. I asked him for the iPad on one of our drive back because we drove everywhere, like long 7-hour drives. On one of the drives, I asked for the iPad. I'm screen recording like all my clips from the game, putting them together. I send them over to my boy back home. He puts them all together, puts out a little mix. We prep, Twitter page, posts it. I ended up getting DMs from Ohio University, which I ended up going to in Longwood University. And then yeah, I ended up at Ohio. Did 3 years there. Didn't really do a whole lot. My first year, coach got fired. Got a lot of freshmen coming in. I got a chance for more of a leadership role my sophomore year, and then I could really do a lot. I really kind of went on to the scene my sophomore, junior years to get drafted.
That's lit, man.
You look like you were
That's
gonna say something. Just
no. Just that's a crazy ass story. That's just called determination. And for being 100% honest, first off, I'm sorry for the passing of your mother, 100%, man. But the fact that you didn't, let anything in your life derail you from your ultimate goal. Now you're in the NBA. Like that is just unbelievable story. Full circle moment for you. That's just amazing, dude.
No, I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Of course.
Yeah, that's amazing. And
It's crazy.
some things happened in the NBA this past week. The biggest one being the Celtics trying to trade for Kevin Durant and involving Jaylen Brown in the deal. Now, Drew, you've called Jaylen Brown the best Robin in the NBA. You're very high on Jaylen Brown.
Love Jaylen Brown.
Now, the question here is, did the Celtics make a mistake by offering Jaylen Brown for Kevin Durant?
Yes, they did.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, they did. I mean, you saw his tweet, so I mean, he's obviously not happy. And what was weird about this is that, like, if I'm Jaylen Brown, I could arguably say I was playing just as good as you, if not better, especially like in the finals. I guard the better player. I have just as much on my plate, and you're throwing me in trade discussions.
Are you talking
Just
compared
like
to Tatum or compared to KD?
No, Tatum.
Jaylen, I'm saying Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum.
I understand. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. And like now I'm getting thrown in trade rumors, and I don't know, like I think they're like 24 and 25. Like you just made it to the finals with them. It's really not. You just got Malcolm Brogdon. Like it's really not even needed per se. Like you have a great Robert Williams. Like you have a great core. I don't really see like the need to like break that up.
You're right. There's no need for it. Here's where I'll counter that point. Jaylen Brown did play better than Tatum in the finals. He does guard the opposing best player. So I understand where Jaylen Brown might be thinking, the Celtics have on multiple occasions have said Jason Tatum is untouchable. They've said that.
Makes sense.
Jaylen Brown is somebody that now we're seeing is not untouchable. Granted, it's Kevin Durant. I can understand why he's upset about that. But at the same time, is there not a scenario where Jaylen Brown right now has 2 years left on his deal? Kevin Durant has 4 years left on his contract. After those 2 years are up, Jaylen Brown is saying, I'm tired of playing second fiddle to Jason Tatum. I want my own team. And then decides to leave Boston in 2 seasons, and now they lose Jaylen Brown when they could have gotten Kevin Durant by involving him in a deal like this. And on top of that, Jaylen Brown is an exceptional player, but he's not Kevin Durant. He's not Kevin Durant.
Like, we all know this. Every single person on this panel understands that Kevin Durant is leaps and bounds better than Jaylen Brown. You just have to understand that there's a certain team chemistry that goes along with trying to create a team for the future. Like he mentioned already, 25 and 24 years old, respectively, you have Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Why would you try to break that up when you have years and years to come, when they've made the conference finals more than they've missed the playoffs, more than they've lost in the playoffs? Like, you have to understand that this team is still super raw, super young, and they have multiple years to still even enter their primes. Right? Like, what can you really say?
It's Kevin Durant.
It's Kevin Durant. That's the
Kevin
only
Durant.
statement
So,
to
like,
say.
That's
Correct.
what you say.
It's the only
I
statement.
don't think they made a mistake in looking at Kevin Durant. I think any team in the league should look at Kevin Durant. He's one of the best players in the world. But I also don't think it's a mistake to say, no, actually, we want to keep our young guys. We want to keep our core together, because Kevin Durant, as great as he is, has a bit of an injury history over the past couple seasons.
Very true.
And although he does have the 4-year deal, you might not get 4 years of Kevin Durant. You know, you can go into the playoffs, Kevin Durant could go down with an injury at any moment, or Kevin Durant could decline. I'm not saying it's going to happen. Kevin Durant looks invincible, but he's been hurt the last couple of seasons. So I think right now, with the core you have, like you said, you just picked up Brogdon, you got Jaylen Brown, you got Jason Tatum, you got Rob Will around the same age. I don't think it's necessarily a mistake to say, you know what, nah, we want to keep our guys. But I think you can always look at what makes our team better. You get Kevin Durant, yes, it makes your team better. Offensively, you get better.
But you're not just losing Jaylen Brown. You're probably losing Marcus Smart. You're
Which is
probably
fine.
losing Rob Will.
No.
You're losing 3 first-round picks.
The offer was Jaylen Brown, Derek White, and picks. And the Nets countered and said, we want Marcus Smart in the deal. We want JB, Smart, and another rotational player with picks for KD. Pritchard?
That's a great bench piece for the Celtics.
Oh, God, no.
He is.
I mean,
I don't know. It's just not necessary. It's really just not like he just made the finals. Like it's not like they're like it's not like they need something to get over the hump. Like I just give them another year of experience and they would have been fine. But now, I mean, now you've caused some problems. I think the best point that you said was the contract situation. You know, there could be a real situation in 2 years when Jaylen Brown said, I don't want to be here anymore. So
what do you guys think
it does get tricky.
What do you guys think is Jaylen Brown's like ceiling as a player? Because I think
he's right here.
Although
he's getting there.
He hasn't even learned how to dribble the ball at a high level.
Some people just don't learn that.
It's the only thing he has to work on.
Although Jaylen Brown,
he's a poor playmaker.
No, he can dribble.
Jaylen Brown can dribble.
He can dribble.
I'm so glad. I need people to know this. Jaylen Brown can dribble. Just because he's lost the ball a couple times, like Jaylen Brown will go one-on-one with anybody.
King, it's more than a couple of times.
I'm a tween cross.
He's got some nice ball handle.
Jaylen Brown could
right,
just don't
I'ma
let a
trust
couple
you.
times
I'ma
that he's
trust you.
lost the ball like try and fool you. Jaylen Brown can dribble.
It just seemed like in big moments he tried to do a little bit too much and he would lose the ball. He just needs better ball security. Maybe that's what I'm looking for then. His ball security needs to improve.
Mostly it's just his playmaking. He's not a playmaker.
He's a horrible playmaker.
Horrible is strong. He definitely he showed to be
he
a better.
averages a turnover for every assist.
He puts
pretty
his
much.
head down
Here's
every
what
time
it-
he goes to the basket.
I mean, a lot of people do that.
He doesn't look up. You don't expect to pass
He
out.
playmaked more than people let on in the regular season in the playoffs.
What was that? He was a poor playmaker in the regular season. He turned
He
into
elevated.
a maybe okay playmaker.
You take it.
But I think even Kevin Durant on the back end of his contract after like in the third, fourth year is still better than Jaylen Brown at his very best.
It takes getting. I mean,
I don't think that's a hot take.
it's Kevin Durant. I
No, it's
understand
just
what you're saying.
that sounds crazy, but it's like maybe true.
But is it worth losing probably the leader of the team in Marcus Smart, your second best player in Jaylen Brown, and 3-4 first round picks for a guy who you can't even bank on being there for
Can I be
65
honest?
games of the season?
Smart is valuable,
For sure.
but
It's another
It's
IT
Kevin-
situation
it's
to a
Kevin
degree.
Durant.
No. I actually disagree. I would want to keep Smart in that deal. Like
Okay.
I,
I
don't
would
wanna
rather
move off
keep
Smart.
Rob Will than Smart. Me personally.
There's certain things that there's certain players I would say they got to hold on to Robert Williams.
You gotta hold on to Rob Will.
For
That's
sure.
the
There's
one
certain-
guy.
There's certain players that the Celtics can't lose.
And
You depending on that deal, you can't lose them both. You
mhm.
can't. Maybe you could get rid because you just got Malcolm Brogdon, so maybe you could get rid of Marcus Smart. But
So do you think the Celtics should hold on to Rob Will over Marcus Smart?
yeah, Robert Williams is special. Robert Williams got like 9 blocks last postseason guarding Kevin Durant in like 20 minutes. Like Robert Williams is special. Like,
And he was
he's
doing that at like
amazing rim protector,
70%.
switch 1 through 5.
Yeah,
lob,
I
threat.
think that's obvious. You keep Rob over Smart.
Smart did just win Defensive Player of the Year.
He did.
He's the leader of the Celtics.
He is. Rob
So-
Will is an
But you
elite
got
rim protector.
He is, no doubt.
Like he's an
you got
elite
Malcolm
rim protector.
Brogdon who could. I'm not gonna say he's gonna fill his role, but
I would say
it's not you can't replace Robert Williams. Like you can't.
with what they have, like you can't replace Smart either. Like the stuff he does outside of the numbers, but you can kind of fill that void of a defensive presence. You have Jaylen Brown, you have Tatum, or like you have Brogdon.
I get what
He
you
can-
mean.
But you can't replace Rob. They don't have anything to replace Rob Will, and the Nets also don't have anything that would replace Rob Will. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
Mhm.
he's irreplaceable for them right now. And in the East, when you play Embiid, you play Bam, you play Giannis, you need Rob Will to
I agree.
get past all these teams.
I agree with you.
I know the Celtics just made the finals and they did make good additions in Gallinari and Brogdon. But do you think that fully healthy they can beat Milwaukee if Milwaukee's fully healthy with Chris Middleton now?
Yes,
I think they can beat them for sure. Another year
Would
of
you favor
experience.
them?
I would right now. Yes,
You would favor Boston over Milwaukee.
everybody
They're the
healthy.
better. They're the better team.
Everybody healthy right now. Yes,
What about
They're the
Philadelphia?
yes. I would.
I would
favor
take them
Boston.
over Philly. Oh,
They're
over
the
Philly.
best team. Like they don't. What's their weakness? They don't really have. Like they really need like just a point guard or a guy who could like slow them down or. But they got that in Malcolm Brogdon. Like they're elite defensively. They're a really good shooting team. They have role players who know how to play the role. They got like literally like 3-4 guys who are switchable defenders. I'm not even mad. I'm not mad they made a call for Kevin Durant because like it is Kevin Durant. Probably the worst thing is that it got leaked.
Yeah.
Whoever allowed that to get out is probably.
Now let me
The
ask you.
real
I know.
I see how you tried. I see how you tried to sneak Philly in there.
Yeah,
I really
I know.
did see
I
that.
know.
You know James
he
Harden's
thinks that
coming back
Philly's
to
going to.
I don't know
He
nothing.
thinks Philly's
James
going to the
Harden's
championship.
is going to go back to the player he was.
Listen,
I hear
our
you.
boy Joel would be upset if I didn't mention this. Do you believe that the Nets just put this out there to try and have better offers for Kevin Durant? Do you believe that this was a real offer, or do you believe that this was just something that the Nets wanted to
No,
leak?
this was a real offer.
You believe that?
My thing
No,
is, what better
100%.
offer was going to come out? Like, what other team that's looking at Kevin Durant right now can possibly give a better offer than Jaylen Brown?
The Pelicans, Brandon Ingram, and other pieces. That's
Raptors.
it.
Also, exactly.
Raptors
I was
too.
just going to mention them. Scotty Barnes hasn't been
Well,
mentioned.
the
in
Raptors
talks,
have
but
already stated the Nets have said if Scotty's not in the deal, we don't want to talk. And the Raptors have made that
Raptors
clear.
can make a package without Scotty. They got-
Nah,
they got
you
a lot.
think
yeah,
so?
with Siakam. hmm
You think they give up?
They can make a
that-
package.
You think they give up Siakam for KD?
Why not?
I would do that in 2
Yeah,
seconds.
Siakam and a couple pieces.
Siakam and a bunch of players. That means the team is ass.
Yeah.
Siakam and OG
The team is ass.
Not true.
It's not ass, but it's not a true contender.
It ain't moving nobody.
You still have Van Vliet. You have Gary. You have KD. You have Scotty Barnes.
Anybody.
Precious
in the East.
You just said it's Kevin Durant. What
it
you
is.
mean?
Exactly.
No, but
it's Kevin Durant.
But that team ain't move. That team moving, y'all.
Unless Scotty Barnes takes an unprecedented second year.
I mean, he was
in
great.
year two.
He was great last year.
Like that.
I don't think
Scotty was great.
That's not a true contender in the East, though.
But Scotty can elevate. You told me he's gonna be Giannis.
Wait, what'd you say? What are the Raptors right now?
Yeah, because you just said that team's not moving anybody. So if you get KD, they still not moving nobody.
I think the Raptors right now are a first-round exit team.
I agree.
With Kevin Durant, if you swap out Siakam, and I'm guessing they're gonna add in another piece, maybe Siakam and OG or Siakam and Trent. I just don't think the Raptors have the proper depth. They were one of the worst teams in bench scoring last season.
I agree.
So they're just relying on their starters, and if KD gets hurt,
and they still don't have a big.
It's a huge risk. They don't have a center either.
You're not a fan of Precious?
He's 6'7".
Yeah, I know.
Come on, bro.
KD could be the...
KD cannot be the
So I have a hypothetical scenario for you guys. So let's say Jaylen Brown gets traded to the Nets. KD's on the Celtics. The Nets' potential team, because Kyrie Irving has said that he'll play out the season with the Brooklyn Nets with or without Kevin Durant. The Nets their starting lineup would be Kyrie Irving, Joe Harris, Jaylen Brown, Ben Simmons, Claxton, with the bench of Derek White, Seth, Patty Mills, TJ Warren. How far can this team go in the East?
With Kyrie and JB?
And Ben. Don't forget Ben.
I did forget Ben. I apologize.
That's all right.
Kyrie, JB, and Ben. They're
And
definitely a
Joe
playoff
Harris.
team. I definitely believe they're a playoff team.
It's a tough team to project because you don't know how Ben Simmons is going to play. I need to see Ben. I need to see a month of Ben Simmons in a Brooklyn Net uniform before I can give an honest
You think they're
projection.
a playoff lock, though? Top 6 seed?
They should. That's a lot of talent.
Hold on. I need some.
I don't know.
Miami,
I think they'll get
Philly,
Boston.
Milwaukee, Boston.
The
Are
Knicks.
you taking them or Chicago? I would take them.
I would take them.
You take the Nets over you guys. I agree.
They could fumble, though, at any moment.
I would take the Nets over the Knicks, respectfully.
With Donovan Mitchell?
Who's the
Nets
number
or the
one guy?
Cavaliers?
Who's the number one guy in Brooklyn? They get
Kyrie.
Kyrie and JB.
It's
Kyrie's
Kyrie.
the number one?
It's got to be
Yeah.
Kyrie.
I think it is Kyrie.
Kyrie is a number
I
one.
say yeah, that's like a 6 seed.
I say 6. Like, are you taking that Nets team or Atlanta? I would take that Nets team.
Talent-wise? I don't know.
Talent,
see it.
correct.
I can see Atlanta. I can see Atlanta doing better than that team.
I
can
understand.
see.
I feel like
I can
they
see
have
a lot
bit
of. I think the Nets would get in, but I can see a lot of teams having a better record in the regular season.
Are you taking into account? I don't know, man. Like Kyrie, JB, Ben is arguably the best, one of the best trios in the NBA.
There's 2 number 2s in a Ben.
Say that one more time.
It's 2 number
I don't know.
2s in Ben.
I don't know how Ben Simmons is going to be when he comes back.
That's what I'm saying. I need to
You
see
got-
a
you
month
gotta
of it
really-
before I could really project.
And they
He's
still don't
right.
have a center, I'm assuming. Based on,
Claxton.
right. So they still don't have a center. And and their bench has no big backup big. So they're running out Seth.
Aaron Sharp.
They're going to have to score a
because
lot of points.
Lamarcus is still a free agent.
Yeah, they're going to have to score a lot of points. Bro said Claxton.
Claxton, listen,
He's
Nets
too
fans,
skinny,
they
man.
call
I say
for
that-
him.
I said that because Jaylen Brown, I do feel like after this finals run, he's gotten overrated. I do feel that.
But I don't understand what's overrated to you because I feel like no one's mentioning him. In
Yeah.
the,
Well,
like,
people have said he's better than Tatum after
no,
this finals
who
run.
said that?
There is people have said that.
Really?
That is a
Yeah.
narrative out there.
I am a
That is a
Jaylen
narrative.
But
Brown
I'm saying there
fan,
is
and I
people
will
that say-
tell you that that's crazy.
Okay, but you're not the only one. Like,
You're
that's
not
a
the
Jaylen
only-
But
Brown
it's just
fan.
cra-
You're not
but
a
I
JB
just-
fanatic. There's JB
Why do
fanatics.
you say Tatum's better than him?
Who, Tatum's better than JB?
Why do you say he's better than him?
Ooh.
I'm not saying JB's better. I just want to hear your
I
explanation.
understand.
I think Jason Tatum's a more consistent offensive player. He's a better shooter. He's a better ball handler. He's a
Better
better playmaker.
playmaker.
Defensively, Jaylen Brown is a better defender, but I don't think there's a huge gap there. I think that Jason Tatum can guard
he took huge strides
teams' opposing
defensively
best
this year.
players.
Okay.
What do you don't think it's close? Or you think it's close?
No, I think it's close. I think Jason Tatum is miles better as a playmaker. I think Jaylen Brown is miles better as a defender. Like I know Tatum's made miles, but I think Jaylen Brown could do things Jason Tatum can't. And I hate saying this. I normally don't like saying this, but I think Jaylen Brown has it. Like I think he's got it. Like
An
he's
it
got,
factor
like,
to him.
he's got that it. I don't think Tatum has.
No, that's not a bad take.
And I'm not. And let me say this too. Jaylen Brown is also in the perfect role. I don't think he's this good and in the role Tatum's in right now. Like Tatum's viewed as number one. Is guarded by the best guy. I think Jaylen Brown is literally in the perfect role for him. In that like second fiddle, can be that number one option type guy. But I think if he's on a team like Brooklyn, because he still kind of is second. I think him as a number two is perfect. I don't think he's number one.
Do you think? Let me just give you some names out here and tell me if you think Jaylen Brown is better.
Wait, before you go, I want to
ask him if he's the best Robin in there.
No, he's not, because he's gonna say Paul George. But
Paul George is the Robin.
Kawhi's the
do
what?
Do you feel good about saying that?
I do.
All right,
he's the second guy. Kawhi is number one. Come on, different levels. But I would say, so if you said Jaylen Brown's in the perfect situation as a number two, but I feel like we've seen Kyrie, his perfect situation is also being a number two. So now two number twos collide. Who's going to take over as the leader and be that number one in Brooklyn?
Well, I think Jaylen Brown will do it just because Kyrie Irving is on an expiring contract.
Okay.
So Jaylen Brown would be the long-term future in Brooklyn. But they'd ask him to be the number one. I don't
know. That's an interesting question.
That's two people.
A lot of this stuff has to do with egos. Like people got egos. So I don't know. If Jaylen Brown wants to get traded and be another number two. He might want to step in there and say, I got something to prove. So
I was gonna say it took up until this point. It took up until this season at the halfway point for Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown to realize, all right,
shout out to the
Jason
Nets,
Tatum's the guy.
That's a good return.
So Jason, I'm gonna name you other top shooting guards, and just tell me if you were taking Jaylen Brown over these guys. Donovan Mitchell.
I'll answer it based on if there are. You know what? Just go to question.
Donovan Mitchell.
Man,
it's tough for you.
This is a guy with respect.
Pass. I'm coming back.
No,
pass.
you can't. Come on.
No, let him pass.
It's tough for him. He got to see these guys nightly. You know what I'm saying?
Come back to it. Come back to it. I got it. That was a tough first question. Give me another one.
Zach LaVine.
Give me Jaylen Brown.
Bradley Beal.
If I'm a contending team that needs that missing piece, like probably Bradley.
Devin Booker.
D-Book.
Okay. Can you guys help me out with names? I kind of got stuck.
You had it. I thought you was
honestly, you're just naming the best. All right, are you taking Brandon Ingram or are you taking Jaylen Brown?
Brandon Ingram.
Would you say that would you say that Brandon Ingram is closer to Jason Tatum than he is to Jaylen Brown?
Brandon Ingram is closer to Jason Tatum than Jaylen Brown is to Tatum. That's what you said?
Yeah, would you say that is Brandon Ingram closer in skill to Jason Tatum than he is closer in skill?
Like, do you think it's
Brown?
Tatum, Ingram, Brown, or Tatum, Brown, Ingram?
No, that's not the question. The question is, let's say I
get what you're saying.
All right, sweet.
But you're just automatically saying Tatum's better than Ingram.
Correct.
Oh, you don't think that?
This is good. It's all situational. Like Brandon Ingram did some stuff this play-in and postseason that I'm like, wow.
Jason Tatum did some of that too.
You know, it's always good to get an NBA player's perspective on it, because you guys do realize how much of it is due to situation, and players in the better situation are going to thrive. And you have these conversations.
Yeah, like
Ingram has a skill set that is similar to Tatum's.
Yeah, like when you ask me to Donovan Mitchell, it's like Donovan Mitchell's probably a better number one, but if I needed a number two, I might say Jaylen Brown because he's taller, stronger, better defender. So like it's all situational.
Who was your favorite player growing up?
JB or Mitch?
LeBron.
LeBron.
JB or Mitch?
Who was your second or third favorite player?
For me, that's
Chris Paul.
Chris Paul. Are you a James Harden fan by any chance? So Jaylen Brown or James Harden? Right now.
I'm gonna say James Harden.
That's respect. Okay. That's out of respect. You have to say that. I understand.
Okay.
I mean, you don't have to say anything, honestly, but I'm just speaking very loosely.
Yeah.
Okay, ranking players that are coming back from injury.
This
that
was
didn't
fun.
play last season.
This was fun.
So these were the injured players last
Like
year.
they had to play 0 games last season.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
Kawhi Leonard.
I put a couple guys that played a couple games.
Kawhi Leonard, Zion Williamson, Jamal Murray, Ben Simmons, Jonathan Isaac, James Wiseman, John Wall. Here's where the list.
Why the hell did you name James Wiseman?
Here's where the list gets bad. So Kendrick Nunn,
Yeah, what are
Dario
you doing?
Saric, T.J. Warren. These are just players that didn't play the entire season.
I thought you were just
No,
going to
no,
go,
no,
okay,
no.
impact.
Because I listed guys that missed a good portion of the season.
Why? What's up with the James Wiseman disrespect?
No, you know I love James Wiseman, but you said Kawhi. You went from Kawhi, Zion, Jamal Murray. Then you said James Wiseman.
No, then I said Ben Simmons, Isaac, then Wiseman.
You said Isaac too. What? Come on.
You kind of just rank the way you listed it. You kind of just ranked it. Top
Okay.
6 is in order.
Yeah. What players did
just
you
put
have?
Dame.
So I included Dame. I included MPJ.
I feel like Dame is
Okay.
valid.
Dame and MPJ.
Yeah, they're
So
valid.
you think they should be included in this?
I mean, they missed a
Okay.
good portion of the season.
So top 5. You guys did say it was kind of in order.
Mhm.
Kawhi Leonard, I think, is number 1.
That's
Mhm.
very obvious.
Zion 2.
I disagree.
What?
What do you mean?
Dame should be
What's
2.
Zion?
Who?
Dame?
Dame should be 2. If we're adding him to the list, I feel like Dame should be 2.
27 on 61% from the field.
It's
I
Damian Lillard.
agree.
You're saying you agree that it's Damian?
I agree that it's Dame.
Dame is 2.
I understand. I get it.
Dame is 2.
What team's going to be better next season?
The Pels.
Wait.
Let me. I have
you
questions.
mean-
There's
no,
layers.
I'm
That's fine.
sorry. I was
Pelicans or Blazers next season?
Pels will probably be better. They have a
Okay.
better team.
Who are you projecting to play better next season, Zion or Damian Lillard?
Dame. He'll have to do more. I feel like he can do that. He'll average 30.
I get it. Okay.
If he's healthy,
He's done
he'll
it.
average 30.
He's done it. Fair. Last we saw Zion 27 on 61%.
Zion will score a lot of points efficiently. But what are you? I mean, I'm not trying to like this. I'm not trying to just brush away 27 on 60% shooting. Like, what else is Zion really? He's not a great defender.
I think he's not a great defender because of situation where we see young players in the league have a team that's not all in yet and not truly contending, and they focus more on their offensive game because
You cannot be
offense.
serious
Offensive.
right now.
I mean, how often
The
do we
best
say
3
that?
rookies last year played defense. Mobley, Barnes, Cade. What do you
Barnes
he has a
made the
point,
playoffs.
'cause I
Cade,
could see-
Mobley made the playoffs, and Cade.
Mobley did not make the playoffs.
Yeah, they were a playing team.
Cade played for the worst team in the league. Orlando, them young
Exactly,
boys out
and
there.
would you say
they
Cade
play-
was
Orlando's a horrible team. Them young boys play defense. If you play defense, you play defense.
Well, Jalen Suggs wasn't a prolific offensive player. He had to show you something. It's true.
Don't do that.
I'm
to
just
him,
being
bro.
honest,
Come
respectfully.
on, Zion has
respectfully.
pigeon feet out
But
there sometimes.
I don't disagree, but I feel like now he sees that this team really just contended
I can
with
see that.
with the top seed
Yeah, I can see-
in the
I
Western
can see him
Conference.
being. He's got Brandon Ingram. He's got a lot better defenders with him. I can see him being a whole lot. Yeah, I can see that.
I don't
It's an
know.
effort thing, in
he
my
wasn't-
opinion.
But he was never viewed as a good defender. He's viewed as like a
Athletic guy that
athletic
could play
block
but
shots.
Why can't that
Well, I
happen?
think Zion's going to be. I think he has the potential to be a very good help defender.
I do think he has the potential to be a.
He has the athleticism.
But I
to
think
do
like
so. Very
right,
true.
like I understand the situation thing, but I don't like. He didn't play last year, so there's nothing you can really say that. Oh, he's gonna get better because he was working on his game. Not really, because he didn't play. He was hurt. So it's like I don't like he's shown that he wasn't a good defender, great offensive player. You know, the 27-60%. He was a great offensive player. You get Herb Jones, you get Brandon Ingram, you got guys who can defend, but I don't know. Like he hasn't shown any progression in his defense. So it's tough to just say, oh, the situation. No, because I've seen guys in worse situations play defense. So it's like.
Okay,
Tough.
so number 1 on the list was Kawhi.
Easily.
Number 2, I'm not going to give too much pushback on Dame.
It's
either-
either,
it's
either guy.
He's earned that.
yeah.
3 is Zion.
Fine.
Number 4 is
Jamal
Murray.
Murray. Mm-hmm.
And number 5 is Ben
Simmons. And then
Excellent.
I have 6 MPJ.
I think I think my top 5, because I didn't count Dame in here or MPJ,
Mm-hmm.
was Wiseman was my 5th.
Over Isaac?
Yeah.
Nah, I would
Yeah.
take Wiseman over
I'm
Isaac
asking.
as well.
I'm asking. I'm
Mhm.
just asking. I'm just asking.
Isaac.
Isaac is a defensive dog.
Are you an
Yeah,
Isaac
over
guy?
Isaac.
I am a John. I mean, it's just like, why do you have Wiseman over him?
I'm
And I'm a Wiseman guy too.
Oh no,
I say
I've watched 50
because-
games of that man. I'm curious too.
The reason why I have Wiseman over him is because I kind of ranked my list a bit differently. It was more so on
Who's more important?
impact to a team, and I
And
think
ceiling also.
I think well, I didn't really take too much that into account too much. But James Wiseman, I feel like he feels a need for the Warriors at least to have a big man with size. Last year was Looney. Looney played great, but that was their biggest weakness. I think Wiseman feels that, and just seeing Wiseman in Summer League, you can see that he's a more polished player. The way he sets screens, the way he rolls to the basket, he's more patient in that department. I feel like he has improved drastically, and we're going to see that this upcoming season.
Can I ask a question? Impact alone, no Ben over Jamal pushback?
I have
no.
Ooh,
not even close.
No, because we see that without Jamal Murray, that it's Nikola Jokic and company. With Jamal Murray, they become a threat in the playoffs.
Well, Jamal Murray's just a better player.
Oh, well, I'm going off what you just said. Because Isaac is a better player than Wiseman. But you said impact.
I don't know if he's a better player.
You didn't watch him play his rookie year, didn't you?
Well, I'm projecting what he's going to be this year.
You know that's a rude thing to say.
No, James Wiseman probably has the easiest job in basketball. There's probably not a player in the NBA who's got an easier job than James.
Explain that to me.
It's the Golden State system.
Oh, okay, that's really what it is.
Yeah,
all right, fair enough.
Get ready to catch
teams will load up on Steph, Clay, Chase over the top. Like he plays with Draymond. He'll have wide open lob dunks. If he bought into saying I want to set screens and catch lobs and block shots, he has like a job in the NBA by far. So he should, in reality, yes, have a better year than Jonathan Isaac. Jonathan Isaac's the better player.
You said Jamal. Yeah, I said Jamal Murray coming back puts Denver up at the top, but I think Ben Simmons coming back for right now is what the team is. Kevin Durant, Kyrie. That also puts them in a different light. Also, so that's why I asked.
I know, and you said he's definitely the better player. Is it not? It's not definite.
No, it is definite.
It's not definite.
What do you mean?
Outside of scoring, definite? What does Jamal do better than Ben?
It really doesn't matter.
That's scoring so
is
perfectly
what it
said.
is.
Right, yeah.
So that's just because he's a better scorer?
Yeah, but even though Ben Simmons to this point he's been a regular season player. In the regular season, yes, he's good. I know he's a DPOY candidate. Mm-hmm. I know he's a great playmaker. But in the playoffs,
he drops off.
I am with you 100%.
Jamal Murray is a playoff superstar, legitimately.
I'm just saying, like, for impact purposes, I think they both impact their team at a high level because, the Nets are waiting for the big dummy to come back. And then
are you calling?
and then Jamal Murray, he puts Denver at a different light. So I get it. Jamal is also a better player. So sorry.
Are you guys excited to see any of these guys play that are not the top guys, like T.J. Warren?
I'm excited to see Bubble Warren back because he needs to get the word bubble stripped from the name and go back to being.
I'm excited to see
T.J. Warren.
He's on the Nets.
I'm just excited for Wiseman to come back.
Yeah, Wiseman's definitely one of those that I can understand.
I'm actually excited for John Wall.
Oh, I forgot he didn't play.
Not too much excited to see that, to be honest.
Because you're a Lakers fan.
I forget. Clippers guy right here. Shout out to John Wall, man. Shout out to the Clippers. Unfortunately, we're rivals. You're
a Laker fan?
I am.
Barely.
Mostly a LeBron fan, if I'm being completely honest.
Mostly, he is a LeBron fan. That's why he's
I love the Lakers.
That was crazy.
Who else? Come on, bro. You really going to do me like that?
Do your thing, bro. Have fun.
Yeah, man. Shout out to the Lakers. Shout out to you guys. You guys are going to be really good this year, without a doubt.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Not too much pushback.
Yeah. Hey, Jason. Question while we're on the topic of the Clippers. How has practices been with Reggie Jackson and John Wall? Like
Great question.
That point guard battle between you three guys. How's that been?
I haven't. If you get me on a podcast in a couple months, I can let you know. But I was just in summer league, and then I just got back. I took a little break. I went back home, and it's not really like practices right now. It's more like individual workouts.
Okay.
It's not a big deal.
Yeah, how was your rookie year in the NBA?
And it was really cool, especially living out here in LA. Obviously being injured, kind of sucked. Especially because we didn't really have a backup point guard for most of the year, so it was kind of frustrating in that regard. But I learned a lot. It's great being on like a team with like a coach like Ty Lue. Like Ty Lue's a great coach,
one of the best.
What makes Ty Lue so special as a coach?
Just how he can like relate to his players. He knows how to talk to people, and he just has a brilliant mind. Like he knows this. He won't overcomplicate things. He knows how to talk to people. He's a good.
Yeah, River over here is a huge Ty Lue fan. Because he's a Clippers
I'm
fan.
gonna say no bias. He's the best coach in the NBA. I can't really think of a coach doing stuff better than he does.
Spo?
Kerr?
Spo can't relate to his players like Tyler
I don't disagree, but I feel like in X and O's.
Make your case for Ty Lue being the best coach in the NBA.
I like what you just did before. Like you just can't name a coach that does everything better than he does than Tyler Lue's. ATOs are great. His lineups, we'd be in halftime, and like the stuff he would say is just like it wouldn't be anything like super complex. It'd just be like a little adjustment, or it'll switch up the matchups, and it's just very simple. And like I said, the way he could talk to his players, like I think that's very, very important. If you saw that clip at the end of the year with Spo and Jimmy Butler, and they were getting into it, like that would never happen.
Respect.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, Steve Kerr, X's and O's wise, I think is up there too. But Ty Lue is definitely great at that.
I was gonna say Kerr definitely can relate to the players, but
I would say Steve. Yeah, I was. Steve Kerr is not a. That's a good answer. I'm not gonna argue against that because Steve Kerr is a great coach.
Yeah, is there something about Ty Lue, like when you talked about the halftime adjustments, that like he notices something that's so small, but in the grand scheme of things is what makes the biggest difference in the game?
What's the question you're asking? Yeah, I'm saying he does do that. But wait, what's the question you're asking?
he's saying like specifically what is it that he sees, or what is it that you feel like Ty Lue can hone in on another team that he sees and adjust on the fly at halftime?
Like I said, like matchup wise, the way they're guarding the screen and roll, the way guys are tagging in, and then that will adjust over to the ATOs that he'll run. He'll know all that. And he'll just drop like a wide open shot for somebody. And like I said, we didn't have this year. We didn't have obviously our full team. We had a lot of guys injured, and the fact that he had us like in the play-in tournament, like we were the AC practically the whole year, like with our rosters, like a lot of respect to him.
No doubt. You guys definitely, and I say this with as respectful as I can, you guys definitely overachieved for the amount of injuries that you guys had. And that's a lot of credit to Tyronn Lue and his adjustments. So I definitely see what you're saying.
Yeah, there's no pushback. I think Ty Lue's definitely a top 3, top 5 coach in the NBA.
Been telling y'all that all year.
Have I pushed back
we
at
didn't
all?
push back
no
on
one.
It, though,
no one has.
You've been trying to run me that Monty Williams guard.
No, that's you're lying. You're lying to me. You're lying to me.
I know.
If anyone I say, it's Nick Nurse. That's the only one you could have said that I would have been like, all right.
And Ime.
No, I've never said Ime was better than Tyronn. No.
Word.
Don't play me.
Man,
Go ahead.
I thought Ime was a great, like watching him play, I thought he was great until the finals. I thought he just wasn't great.
I don't disagree overly. At the same time, I just feel like we mentioned it earlier. The Celtics had no weakness except for the fact that they had no finals experience, and we're going against a team with the most finals experience that we have in the NBA right now.
Game 6, and they were still in drop.
Yeah, no, that was bad.
Yeah.
That was bad.
That
ended up costing them the series.
I thought they were going to start trapping Steph after game 2 or 3.
They did trap him. I think it was game 4, game 5, and then the boys just started to turn up.
I don't even think that's an experience thing. I think that was just a mental lapse.
That's hand in hand with experience.
In a sense, yeah.
But I get what you're saying, but that does go hand in hand with experience.
Going on to the next topic, what is the most a team should pay for Donovan Mitchell? But I'm going to switch this topic up a little bit because this morning, I woke up and I just saw the teams that were interested in Donovan Mitchell. And I said, you know what? Let me mock up a trade package for each of these teams, and you guys just let me know, like, okay, I like this for this team, I like this for that team. Jason, you told me you can't speak too much on it. Can you just not make mock trades because you're in the NBA?
It's more so, I'm a rookie, and I don't want to like talk bad about other people who've done big things.
Yeah, it's understandable.
You got to see these guys, man.
So he's smart. He's smart.
The teams that are interested in him are the Wizards, Knicks, Heat, Hawks, Hornets, Raptors, Kings. Now,
Hawks.
The Wizards got to be just smoke because that don't even make sense.
Mavs
the Wizards are not smoke because I think their GM or president of basketball operations, one of those guys, came out and said that they feel as if they are still an all-star away from contending in the East legitimately.
And Mitchell and Beal is
Mitchell, Beal, Porzingis.
And Porzingis.
Word.
Don't forget about that, man.
Don't forget
No,
Kuz.
I was just saying like that the backcourt.
You said the other day Chris House is better than DeAndre Ayton.
No, I agree, but I'm just saying like the backcourt. Who's the point guard? Who's the three? You know what I'm saying?
Point guard would definitely be Beal. He has the capabilities to do so.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, it's just going to be them in the backcourt. I think regardless of who's the point guard and who's not, it's one of the better backcourts in the NBA.
And Mavs aren't on this list, correct?
No, they're not.
That's disappointing. It really is disappointing to me.
6.
Okay, so the Wizards trade package is Johnny Davis, Rui Hachimura, Will Barton, 3 firsts for Mitchell.
Yeah, do it. You do it.
Okay, so the Utah gets 2 guard of the future. Rui, good player. 3 picks. Utah looks good to me.
I was thinking about adding in Daniel Gafford.
Word. Utah looks fine to me.
If I'm Utah,
I'd say
there's
yes.
definitely better
Okay.
packages, personally.
Okay, so after I name all these packages, you guys tell me which one is the best package.
I gotcha.
Okay, the second one is the Knicks. Obi, Grimes, Reddish, 6 first-round picks because I think they won a lot of firsts.
No.
But to keep it a bit fair, because I'm a Knicks fan.
Gobert just went for
four.
5.
Let's just say 4 first-round picks.
Gobert just went
and
for
that
5.
ruined everything.
That's what I'm saying. The
Like,
market's done
that
forever.
ruined
No, but let's pick a side. We're a little bit smarter on this logic.
Which is why we have to acknowledge that
6
this
is nuts.
This is real. This could happen. We just saw Gobert go for 5. The trade market forever is
That's
done.
a loss for the Knicks. That's a loss.
Okay, that's fair.
Right?
Minnesota is also a small market though. They have to do shit.
I don't disagree, but at the same time, Knicks, they need something to rejuvenate.
6 is nutty.
Because I don't want you guys to be overly focused on the Knicks trade package, let's just say all these deals have the same amount of first-round picks.
Okay.
I'm not going to put a specific number. We just know it's going to be a multiple first.
4.
Number 3,
Gobert went for 5, bro.
the Miami Heat. Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, Omer Yurtseven, and picks. Number 4, Atlanta, John Collins, Okongwu, and Jalen Johnson, plus picks. All these trades contracts work, by the way. The Hornets, Terry Rozier, PJ Washington, James Bucknight, and picks. The Raptors, Gary Trent, OG Anunoby, picks for Mitchell. And the last one, the Kings, Harrison Barnes, Davion Mitchell, Terrence Davis, Rashawn Holmes for Mitchell and Jared Butler.
The Raptors is easily the best. I
Yeah,
feel
the
like
Raptors and somebody, and there was another team.
I like Charlotte's
Raptors.
too.
The Hornets,
Terry and
Rozier,
PJ.
PJ.
I do like Charlotte. I do like the Raptors also because they get a bit of a more established
You
younger
keep,
players.
yeah,
Mhm.
you keep Siakam, Barnes, and Mitchell. Yeah,
There was one that really
that's-
sucked that you said.
Hawks was bad.
Yeah, why would
Hawks
they
was
go?
bad.
Why would they get
Yeah,
Mitchell if they just got DeJounte?
Yeah, I don't know. They said they're interested in Mitchell, though.
DeJounte must
Yeah.
be going.
And
again.
for each of these teams, I also did the work of putting together
at
a starting
you.
lineup
Look
as
at
well. You know what I'm
you.
saying? Because you got to do this. For the Wizards, it'd be Mitchell, Beal, Advia, Kuzma, Porzingis. The Knicks, it's Brunson, Mitchell, RJ, Randall, Mitch.
Hot.
Yeah, it is very hot.
It's hot.
For the Heat, Lowry, Mitchell, Butler, Markieff Morris, Bam.
Ew.
The Hawks,
Markieff.
it's Trey Young, Mitchell, Murray, Hunter, Capella. I put DeAndre Hunter at the 4.
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. The
That's a good
Hornets,
lineup.
it's LaMelo, Mitchell, Hayward, Oubre, and Mark Williams.
Okay.
For the Raptors, it would be Fred, Mitchell, Barnes, Siakam, and they don't have a center, so I just left
need to
that
go
vacant.
get one.
That's a fire line.
And then the Kings, it would be De'Aaron Fox, Donovan Mitchell, Keegan Murray, DeMontis Sabonis, and their 3 can be like whoever, like maybe Kevin Herter.
So
or
I'm
something.
really vibing with the Raps in Charlotte.
Definitely.
Like I'm vibing heavily with those 2 teams. The Knicks too, of course. I like that starting 5. That Hawks team sucks. I'm gonna just be honest.
I was about to say the opposite.
I like
Hawks
it.
team.
I don't
You like the
the
Hawks team?
lineup.
I feel like that they're going.
How do
all
you
in
guard
on
that
small.
team?
Yeah.
How do you
I don't
guard
like
4?
DeJounte at the 3. I really don't. Like I'm not a fan of that.
I get it.
And I get people love to say, offensive backcourts matter. I get it.
Yeah.
Trae Young and Donovan Mitchell were statistically one of the 20 worst defenders in the NBA last
Agreed.
season. You put them together, that's like offensively, it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be insane. But defensively, defense still wins.
You're asking Clint Capella to do a lot.
a lot, and DeJounte because he's going to
And you
have to guard.
Hunter. You have Hunter at the 4, right?
Mhm.
He's like if they play Boston, you have to put DeJounte on Jason Tatum. That's not DeJounte's an elite defender, but that's still
But then
a mismatch.
DeAndre Hunter could be on Jaylen Brown.
Either way, DeJounte has to guard one of the big wings.
Where
That's tough.
it gets difficult is why I feel similar with the Knicks is that pairing is very small
Mhm.
defensively. Offensively, they're going to put up points against anyone. Defensively is where I have my
Defense
worries.
still wins for me.
Sure, you're going for the Hawks. So since we're on the topic of the Hawks, Jason, you said that you like this a lot. Because how can you guard it? Is there something else you want to add on to that?
You know, Riv, he brought up some great points. That is a lot of stuff that Capella's got to do. But, like, I also don't know how teams are in the guard that, like, when you got 4 guys and then you have a lob threat and Clint Capella that can, like, all pass, dribble, shoot, like, make it, that's really, really hard to guard. Like, maybe you can get somebody off the bench, like a switchable 3-4 that can come in, possibly take one of them and give them a breather, but that's really hard to guard. I wouldn't say they, more I'm thinking about it, they don't necessarily have to do that because, I mean, they already have trained DeJounte, but.
Yeah,
It's
and
like
also
defensively.
they wouldn't have the picks to trade to the Jazz because they traded 3 first-rounders to San Antonio for DeJounte.
I mean, they are bringing Bogey and Onyeka off the bench. I love you, Onyeka.
No, he's in the trade.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, Collins and Onyeka. I
What
put him
the-
in the trade because they need a
I
center.
didn't hear it. Wow. Yeah, they're doomed. I'm not feeling that.
Yeah.
I'd really like the Charlotte, though. The Charlotte one.
Washington, let's just go over some of these teams. So, Washington, if they were to get Donovan Mitchell, does this move you? Are they a real threat in the East? With Mitchell,
You really
Beal,
started something.
Kuzma, Porzingis, and Advia, who was a very, very good defender last year.
Obvious tough.
Read that for me again. I'm sorry, King.
Mitchell, Beal, Advia, Kuzma, Porzingis.
See, their front court isn't bad. Kuzma can
Do
guard.
we have a bench unit?
Monte Morris,
I thought he was in the deal.
Corey Kispert. No, he's
Oh,
not.
okay.
Monte Morris, Corey
Kispert.
Need to see
Kispert,
more
Daniel
from Kispert.
Gafford.
I like Gafford.
It's not a horrible bench.
Good bench. Monte
Yeah.
Morris can hold it down for that bench. I like Advia, good defender. Kuzma showed strides. He's a really good defender. Porzingis, he just has to stay freaking healthy.
It's a cute lineup.
It actually it's interesting.
It is interesting.
It's interesting.
I actually do like it.
I'm not gonna say it's a lock, but it's interesting. It's gonna make me tune into the TV. Like, let me see what Washington's about.
I don't disagree.
So I'm gonna say interesting. I'm gonna go ahead. It moves me, entertainment wise. It moves me.
So that's a team you'd be looking forward to watch.
Yes, I would say yes. I would like to see who's gonna be the point
I
guard.
would say I'm interested as well.
Sadly, when doing a lot of these mock trades, I was kind of disappointed because a lot of these teams can offer better players than the Knicks
it's true.
with picks.
It's true.
And
would
I was
just-
like, we really might not get them if these teams are aggressive enough.
you guys aren't gonna offer like a top notch young star, but you're gonna offer a depth
Oh,
of
was it?
guys.
It was Miami. It just came to Miami. Miami was the other one I really liked.
Oh right, you
with
did
Tyler Hero, Robinson, and Yurtsevin.
Yeah, I really like that for Miami.
I like that.
I really like teams that, like Washington, that's not like a top 3 team in the East.
Agreed.
If you're just a team that's like that needs that next piece, I think like that Donovan Mitchell is perfect for that.
Mm-hmm.
the problem,
But
yeah,
not like to like completely carry the load or like start over something.
Miami. The thing about Miami is right now they've lost guys. They lost PJ, or they did bring Oladipo back, which was huge. They lost PJ Tucker. Philly got better. Boston got better. Milwaukee ain't really add nothing, but they got the
They don't
big 3
need to.
there. So they do, but they got the big 3 there. They don't need to add much.
They were a game away without Middleton. Show some respect.
I'm respect. I'm just
I
saying.
don't know.
Miami's like the 4th best team in the East right now. They get
They
Mitchell.
were a game away from beating the Celtics too.
Philly's better right now. On
Than
paper.
who?
I'm just
Than
talking on
Heat?
paper. Yeah, on paper.
With
Like,
Mitchell.
No, I'm saying if you let me finish, I was gonna say if they get Mitchell,
Ah.
that puts them in the
All right.
top 2, top
Apologize.
3 categories. Yeah,
Apologize.
you didn't
I'm
listen?
sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So I think that's a good deal though. I'm cool.
We've talked at
Yurtsevic?
length. We've talked at length about the Knicks on this show and what Mitchell means for them. We know that they're a playoff flock with Donovan Mitchell.
We don't
There's
know that.
doubt
We don't
about
know
I'm
that.
saying that.
RJ,
know that.
Star J Barrett, Donovan Mitchell, Randall.
Randall.
He's an All NBA player. Respect
That
that
was
man.
RJ's immovable. He can't move. You cannot trade RJ.
Okay, so we talked about Atlanta.
RJ Stiff.
So let's talk about.
I'm sorry.
Let's talk about. Pause. Let's talk about Charlotte.
Good.
Terry Rozier, PJ Washington, James Bucknight for Mitchell.
I love it.
This is a good package for the Jazz. PJ Washington, James Bucknight, you build around them. Rozier is just kind of like a filler. He's a 20-point per game scorer, though.
I think you go in more so on Buck Knight than
He's a star
PJ.
in a new situation.
Yeah,
I'm telling you this.
I don't
right
think
now.
I don't think the Jazz would ever do that, though.
No,
Probably
I
not.
don't.
No.
I don't disagree either.
Not likely, but I would love to see.
Terry Rozier's a good enough ball player to make it
Buck Knight
intriguing.
is one of my few young players I would love to see in a situation just about him. So
He could definitely right now, given the fact that Miles Bridges is not going to be on the team next season.
Bridges is a 4.
But my point being is there's going to be more opportunity for
In
him.
a sense, yeah, but he has to wait behind Rozier. Unless they bring Rozier up the bench.
I mean, there's definitely going to be opportunity for
the
more scoring.
LaMelo and Mitchell backcourt. How good is that?
It's
It's
that's
better
fire.
than the LaMelo and Rozier backcourt.
I mean, that's easy
for sure. Yeah, but
I mean, I'll tell you what. It's for the long term. I would take that over the Beal backcourt. I would take that over the Lowry backcourt. I would take that
you
over
said
the
long
Brunson backcourt.
ironically enough, I actually do think if the Hornets make this trade, they're still a playing team.
They do, but I think it puts them in a
But
better
you guys
position.
are a playoff lock.
They lost Miles Bridges,
Fair.
That's
but
my
you're
thing.
getting Donovan Mitchell.
But they
but
lost one of the
they're
20
also
point
losing.
scorers.
True,
without
true,
Rozier,
true. Very-
Bridges,
very true.
Washington.
Very true.
But I
Those
do
are some
think this
huge
puts them
losses.
in a better position.
Going forward.
Yes.
For sure, yeah.
And then, you can continue to
Would
develop.
Williams be included in this trade?
No, he'd be there.
Okay, interesting. Because I know that obviously they just traded Rudy Gobert, so maybe that would be enticing for them as well. But
Nobody.
My favorite trade package of all these is the Raptors.
Gotta
And I
be.
think it does make sense for both teams. Gary Trent, OG, a boatload of picks for Mitchell. The Jazz get Trent, who's a good shooting guard, OG, who's a wing. And now you just have to fill that point guard void, but your starting lineup is Trent, OG, Vanderbilt. Center and point guard is still a mystery, but
Jared Butler.
those are 3 good players.
Oh,
And then I do think the Raptors become legit Eastern Conference Finals threats.
finals?
With Donovan Mitchell. No, Eastern Conference Finals.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes, with Donovan Mitchell.
Eastern. Yeah, yes,
Fred-
the ECF.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. That's crazy.
Fred VanVleet, Donovan Mitchell, Siakam, and Scotty Barnes.
Are they better than Milwaukee? Are they better than the Celtics? Are they better than Philly? Are they better than Miami?
If Scotty Barnes takes a big enough leap next year,
I was going to say
they can
there we
definitely
go. Are
give
we-
all those teams a run for their money.
That's a really small backcourt.
Yeah, Fred
it is a small
and
backcourt, but Fred
that's
VanVleet's
he's a good defender. Agreed.
Like Boston and Milwaukee, like those are really big teams.
It's facts.
What's up, guys?
ECF is crazy. It's crazy.
No, it's,
respectfully.
I think it's.
Let me tell you why
this team would be
it's
really
not going to be ECF. They still don't have a big. That trade doesn't help. It helps offensively. They still don't have a big, and that's the like Siakam.
That's
is-
the main need. It's
yeah,
been the main
It's
need.
been the need for a while. They need a big. ECF though, in the right situation though, yeah, we've seen stranger things happen.
I don't see it happening.
But if there's 4 teams still better than them, so they're gonna have to play
Clean.
one of those teams eventually.
Well, this team is definitely beating Chicago if they face in the playoffs.
Well, they're not one of the teams that would be better than them, but they'll beat the Knicks.
Okay, so
again,
the four teams that are better than them. Why are you bringing up the Knicks?
because you brought up the
You
Bulls.
brought up
The
the
Bulls
Bulls.
were in the playoffs. That's why I brought
Come
them
on,
up.
Well, I mean,
bro.
if Mitch goes to Toronto, the Knicks are not in the playoffs, so you are doomed again for another year. I just
No.
want you to know that.
I mean, I've said it on the show before. If Mitchell comes to the Knicks, we're a playoff flock. If he doesn't, we're a playing team.
Yeah, playing,
That's what
which
I've
means
said.
you're gonna fight for it, but you won't get in. There's only 8 teams that
You
get
have
in.
no idea. Jaylen Brunson in the playoffs just showed us that he could shoulder a load and carry a
Played the
team on his back.
Jazz, who were
A
didn't
Jazz
wanna
team that
play
you-
together.
a Jazz
They're
team
bad-
that you
they're
picked
bad.
to make the
in
conference finals.
January when they were good. They fell off after that.
Were
All
they
right.
good? They weren't even that good when
They
you
were good in
picked them.
January.
No,
They had
not.
like
They
the
weren't.
7th best odds. I swear to God on my life, they had the 7th best odds to win the title.
Well, you got
in
fooled.
January. Didn't you get fooled with
We
the
both
Suns?
did. So
The
I'm
seventh
just being-
best odds.
we
That
can
means they.
bring
That
that up if
means
you wanted.
that means according to those sports books, they weren't even a top
Well,
3 team in the conference.
at that moment, the Warriors had the 9th best odds.
That's really
I swear to God.
Okay,
ninth.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It's like
Ninth.
ESPN. ESPN does dumb shit.
They hated the Warriors for whatever reason.
Why does that matter? What is
Oh, it helps
what
my
does that
agenda.
matter?
No, exactly. He's trying to prove a point right now.
Helps
That's
my
irrelevant.
agenda.
Like,
Undoubtedly.
I don't know. When you seen that graphic, did you really think like, oh, because a random person, put the how do you even calculate the odds for somebody to win the NBA championship?
See what these dudes like. He's a funny guy. What he likes.
He asked
to
you
do
a
it-
straightforward
That
question.
is
You did not
I'm-
answer.
I'm about to answer.
No,
You see, I'm
not
literally
answer.
about to
It's
answer.
bobbing and weaving.
What happened was, young Jason. Let me tell you. In January, we had a segment about the Suns and the Jazz, right? And at this point, the Jazz weren't losing. They were good. So I was like, I made a take, and I was like, I think, because at that point, the Jazz were going to play the Suns. And I said, I think the Jazz can play the Suns, beat the Suns, and go to the WCF. Now, I didn't say they were going to the finals or nothing like that. They just like to run with it because the Jazz lost in the first
You also
round,
wanted
so-
an out in that take because I went back and watched the film on that take, and you said Oh, yeah, they'll make it because I'm projecting every team to get hurt.
That's crazy. What's wrong with you?
Because every team's going to get hurt, and the Jazz just
possible.
What's crazy is Luka did get hurt, and you guys were still down.
Yeah,
that's
hurt.
embarrassing.
That hurt.
That's
mentally.
embarrassing.
You want to know why? Who stepped up?
Not anybody than the Knicks.
Yeah, somebody on
Come
the Knicks right
can
now
you
did
stay
step
relevant.
up.
Stay relevant. Come on, just
Hey, listen,
Jaylen
take that
Brunson.
out.
We live and die.
That's it. That's it.
Okay, but Jason, I gotta get your answer on this. Do you think if Mitchell does go to the Raptors, there's not a chance at least they can make the Eastern Conference Finals?
No, I think they definitely can. I just think they definitely can. That's probably like the best team that you constructed out of all the packages made.
I agree with that.
I just think that's really hard for Fred and Donovan. We saw it like in the Philly series a little bit, like Fred's size just kind of.
Yeah,
He was getting
like
torched.
there's some like Philly's big, Milwaukee's big. I mean, Brooklyn struggled a lot this past season because they had Kyrie, they had Seth, and they had Patty Mills out there. It's hard. I'm not saying they can't do it. I'm just saying it's hard.
Nash was
And
you make a good
like,
point. The reason why I'm higher on the Raptors thing is because Fred VanVleet is undersized, but he's still a great defender.
Yeah.
Scotty Barnes is a great defender. Pascal's a great defender. If you surround Donovan Mitchell around these great defenders, I think it's going to mask some of his defensive deficiencies.
Yeah.
And he might even buy it. He is somebody that's short, but he's 6'1". I mean, short comparative to the NBA, but he does have a 7-foot wingspan. So he can play taller than he is, and he could buy in defensively.
What's their starting lineup?
I mean, Fred, Mitchell, Barnes, Siakam, and the 5-man is still yet to be determined. But if they play Siakam at the 5, then you have Otto Porter starting there. And that's a good lineup. It gives them spacing.
They brought back
Still, for me, Philly's still
the
a tough team.
Raptors in the bubble they were one game away from the ECF with Kyle Lowry and Fred VanVleet, that backcourt.
Who'd they play in the first round?
The Nets. In the second round, they faced Boston and took them to 7.
My thing is Philly's
And Siakam had a stinker that series.
Philly is such a tough team for that.
Thaddeus
That
Young also
lineup is
got
crazy.
re-signed, so you can also put him into that lineup.
That and Boucher, if I'm saying his last
Chris
name.
Boucher.
Chris Boucher's there too.
But
so.
Philly and the Bucks, like if they run into one of those two teams, that's a tough series for them, man.
Celtics also.
No, yeah, of course, but I'm saying the big teams that like impose
Celtics
their
aren't
will.
come on.
They don't have Giannis.
All right.
They impose their will. So it's like Siakam at the 5 against Giannis is
That's
nutty.
food. That's food.
crazy.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, what team do you want Mitchell to go to?
For entertainment purposes, I'm going to say Charlotte, but for competitive purposes, I'm going to say Miami.
I'm going to go competitive and entertainment, both Miami. I understand that Donovan Mitchell is a huge leap above,
Tyler Herro.
Tyler Herro. Thank you very much. And what they needed was that number 2 guy, and Donovan completely solidifies that.
Yeah, I agree. Miami's selfishly, I hope he doesn't go to Miami, but Miami probably. Although they lose Tyler Herro and Duncan Robinson, so like who can shoot? Who can really shoot on that team now?
Strus. I was gonna say, and Tyler Herro and Duncan Robinson did not do much this playoffs.
Duncan Robinson got a lot of DNPs. Yeah,
Max Strus, man.
Max Strus definitely could let it go.
Max Strus, he was like 0 for 13.
He did choke it in last game, yeah.
Nah, that game 7 when he hit that 3 though.
Facts.
It didn't count.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That was nutty.
They played him.
The team for me is still the Knicks.
Of course, undoubtedly.
I'm shocked.
Yeah, but if I was picking a team that wasn't the Knicks,
Unbiased.
it would be Toronto.
Okay.
I really want to see the Toronto thing.
Fair enough.
OG
You did just say they would go to the ECF, so I can
I
understand.
like Miami too. I think if he goes to Miami, they're definitely they can win the championship.
They can
win it all.
I mean, Mitchell to Toronto.
it fits their timeline too.
It
They
does.
all grow together.
Mitchell and Bam, or you talk about Mitchell, Barnes, and them?
Mitchell, Barnes, Siakam, Fred.
Mitchell and Bam is a cool timeline too, though. I think and Jimmy got dreads now.
You're in or out?
Out.
How did he grow his hair that
Extension.
fast?
Extension, Brody.
Extensions.
Men get that now. Not me. I'm straight. I'm living and dying, but men get extensions now. It's kind of crazy.
Best NBA free agents available still and where they can go.
All right, so you said name 2 or 3, so I decided to do the maximum. I have 3. So I have Colin Sexton. obviously as number one available free agent. It's really unfortunate what's been going on with his contract situation in Cleveland. They offered him, 3 years, $40 million? The thing about, rightfully so,
I didn't say that.
I'll say this. He needs to be a better playmaker. His defense could definitely be better. It's just unfortunate that he's undersized. He can score the basketball. Now, we look at this. We spoke about the Nets earlier ad nauseum. The big three, KD, Harden, Kyrie, lost 3 games together. One of those losses was an all-world performance by Colin Sexton when he dropped 42 points. He had 5 threes. He was absolutely unbelievable. Colin Sexton is amazing at scoring the basketball. It's just unfortunate that he is undersized. He's not a great playmaker. And to be that size, you do need to be able to distribute the basketball, and that's just not him. So I can understand where, especially with the Cavaliers, they did their thing when Colin Sexton did not play, and they ended up being a lot better than a lot of people projected. And we just saw the emergence of Darius Garland become a top 30 player in the NBA, top 35 player in the NBA. So I can understand where if I'm the Cavaliers, I'm not dying to sign him. I'm not going out of my way to give him a contract that they might not necessarily think he deserves. Number 2, Carmelo Anthony.
What team do you want him to go to?
I hate it. Don't ask me that. Please don't ask me that.
Do you want a lot? I would not mind Colin Sexton on the Lakers without a doubt.
All right.
Is that wrong of me to say?
That's why I had. That's why I had for
set
Colin
you up.
Sexton too.
Huh? I know, but
he knew
at the
he was
same-
going to say the Lakers.
No, it's just that. No, it's just that I asked that question as well. I wanted to know.
No,
was
I
curious.
genuinely would like to see him go to.
No, I have Colin Sexton here to the Lakers. That's my fit. For
All right,
him.
yeah, no, for sure. We need offense.
It's not fit.
Colin
They just
Sexton definitely
need
does
him.
that.
He needs situation. They need players.
I
so.
don't disagree. And
get
situation 100%. He's going to need a team that wants him, and the Lakers are going to be one of
So he
those 2
just stayed
teams
with
right
the
now.
Cavs.
You said your second was Trevor Ariza?
No, my number 2 is going to be Carmelo Anthony. Show some respect to Melo, all right? That was rude. Yeah, I'm
is
twisting
that
the narrative on you.
to Melo?
I know
are you
what you're
talking
doing,
about?
all right? I know what you're doing. Carmelo Anthony, he's still able to shoot the basketball at a really high level, really high strong, but he's still a really good shooter. He's just learned over these past 2 seasons with the Blazers, with the Lakers, to be a role. I think as a bench player, he'll definitely fit a team nicely. And lastly, I have Eric Bledsoe. Solely for defensive purposes, he could be a good bench point guard for a team that comes and gives them a spark. Where
Lakers.
I would not mind that either, to be honest with you. We need defense and someone that can come off the bench and give us offense, even though it's not consistent.
Are
Eric
you
Bledsoe
hoping
can do
he's
that.
like a little bit of Caruso?
Oh, that would be a dream, honestly. Miss Caruso every single day.
Boom. All right. So you named
Is it funny that
No,
I don't think Melo's going to come back to the Lakers, even though there is conversations that it's possible. But 2 of the 3, I definitely would not mind on the Lakers.
All right. Well, you named the big names, so I'm going to go ahead and say one of mine is DeMarcus Cousins. I thought he played really well for Denver in the backup role, even in the playoffs. You know, he's still a guy who could bang down low in short spurts, can grab offensive rebound, defensive rebound. Still a really good playmaker and a good mid-range shooter.
Facts.
So Boogie, for a team like the Nets, that's a team who needs a big, so a team like the Nets could pick up DeMarcus Cousins to be a backup if Claxton is their future 5. And another player, Dennis Schroeder. You know, I 13 points a game last year. Still like another player who can be a backup point guard in this league. A guy who can create, he can score for himself, and he can defend at a good level. I think that's another person who people have forgotten because there's been a bad rep on his name from the Lakers when they played bad in the playoffs and he played bad. But I still think he can be a backup point guard in this league. So that's my 2.
So for me, I have 2 different from you, and I did have Carmelo and Sexton on here. For Carmelo, I actually want him to go to Golden State. If he were to go to a team, I want him to go to Golden State.
You want him to really
Otto
ring
Porter
chase?
role.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I think that would be good. And if it's not Golden State, I would want him to go to Miami.
So you just want him in the best situation possible for him to win
I think at this point in his career, that's what
He's
he
earned
should
it
be.
He
also.
should start over Markeith.
Yeah, that's what.
It's like Dwight got that opportunity with the Lakers.
Yeah.
Melo definitely can do so too.
So, and then I have 2 big men. One of them is Hassan Whiteside, and I have him going to the Celtics because I think
Interesting.
they need a backup big for rim protection. I think
Dice isn't cutting it.
No, I think he's better than Tice. He's a better rim protector than Tice. I think Hassan Whiteside would fit good there, but another team could be Toronto that need a center.
Very true.
And then outside of Whiteside, it's Montrezl Harrell. I think Montrezl Harrell is still a very good player in this league. He's not a very good defender. He is undersized. But if he goes to a team like Toronto, who they're one of the worst teams in bench scoring, I think that could make sense for them. Maybe not start, but coming off the bench with Otto Porter, Harrell, that's a pretty good bench to build around.
I could dig it.
Definitely not opposed. Do you have any free agents, man? Or is he not allowed to say free agents either?
I don't even know.
I feel like free agents is definitely one of those things that NBA players cannot talk about. You know how many fines?
He's right there.
Yeah, I mean, do you have any free agents, man?
I'll say Rondo.
Facts.
Rondo.
I know I know he had some legal issues, so I don't know. I don't know if he still got that stuff going on. I like Montrezl and DeMarcus Cousins too. They're just solid big men. You know what you're gonna get back in bigs.
Yeah, they're solid.
There's not like a lot of. I feel like this free agent class isn't as big as it normally is.
A lot of good guys already got signed.
Next year would be better.
It's like you still have I'm just looking at the list right now. Schroeder we haven't mentioned. Blake Griffin.
The biggest
Schroeder,
one
I like
is-
Schroeder too. I like Schroeder too. Schroeder. I'm surprised he's still a free agent. Actually,
Me too.
I feel like his reputation has just went downhill.
He
over
had a
the
chance to
past
get the
couple
big
years.
bag from the Lakers. He said, "Nah, I'm good, love."
Yeah, no, that
and
was folded.
It's just how leaving the Lakers, going to Boston trading him to Houston. I don't know. I kind of feel like his reputation is kind of down
I think
the
he
drain
still can
right
be
now.
a backup.
He can, definitely. I think he can too.
Griffin's still a free agent. LaMarcus Aldridge is still a free agent. Dwight Howard's a free agent. That's one that could go to the Raptors. Would be interesting also.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Blake Griffin is.
No, I'm not talking
Dwight,
about
talking
Blake
about
Griffin.
Dwight.
I said Dwight.
And I know you said Dwight, but
Oh.
in just terms of talking about like best free agents,
Blake is done.
I just think
Oh, yeah,
I
he's
think
fried.
it's
He's
pretty-
fried.
It's pretty much over, unfortunately for Blake.
And LaMarcus, you think that's done also?
Yeah, I do. I think it's over. I think the best free agent available is Colin Sexton. Right now.
Without a doubt.
By far.
That's easy.
Yeah. Now,
And we're not mentioning Miles Bridges because I just don't think that he's going to have an NBA team.
Yes. This week in the NBA, sponsored by NBA Top Shot. Shout out to them. You can get a $9 starter pack at NBA Top Shot if you go to the link in our description below. Now, my this week in the NBA is Monty Williams contract extension. I think that what he's done in Phoenix has been amazing. Them going from a bottom dweller to now making the playoffs, going to the finals. Yes, they disappointed this past season, but Monty Williams is one of the better coaches in the NBA, and he definitely deserved this extension.
So my this week in the NBA was something Gilbert Arenas sparked up on his little show.
Shout out
to Gilbert Arenas, of course.
No chill, Gil.
Yeah, he said they were talking about Manu Ginobili versus Jamal Crawford, and it got me so upset. I think I commented on one of his TikTok videos. He said in a one-on-one situation, like outside of the accolades, he'd take Jamal because Jamal is a one-on-one player and Manu can't. He doesn't look at Manu that way, and I just think one-on-one doesn't determine like who's a better basketball player. Like when you go on the basketball team, I feel like basketball, like in a team sport, determines who's the better basketball player because you can impact the game in so many different ways: playmaking, rebounding, defending. Just being a leader on that court. And I think when he's talking about just the one-on-one situations, I feel like that's unfair to Manu because he was in the system. But I feel like people need to just show a little bit more respect to Manu because he was a really great one-on-one player when he needed to be.
And he won the World Cup for Argentina,
Yes,
or
sir.
the championship medal, the gold medal for them.
That was huge. Winning a World Cup, winning a gold medal.
I think
when
I think in a one-on-one situation, I would still go Manu.
I would personally too.
Manu was like that for sure. So my this week in the NBA is actually Draymond Green wanting a max contract, and the Golden State Warriors not really wanting to do so. And Draymond Green said that he's willing to explore his options. Draymond Green's one of the best defenders we've ever seen, one of the best defenders in the game. We see how he impacts the game without scoring the basketball, able to facilitate, able to rebound, of course, being the defensive leader that he is for the Golden State Warriors. He has every right to want this money. I mean, how many years in a row have we seen Draymond Green put together this defensive unit and make it what it is? We spoke about it how many times this season where Draymond Green, before he got hurt, was probably a lock for the Defensive Player of the Year. He goes down, the defense takes a huge hit, and then we start to see the question marks, or there's a lot of people questioning whether Golden State could actually get it done. There's definitely a conversation to be had that Draymond deserves a max contract, 100%. But there's also the other side where he doesn't provide you offense, and it gets to a point where we saw in the finals he got unplayable for a game. Then he stepped up the last two games, so there's really not much that you could say. It was one game, he had a bad hiccup, but then he rebounded very well. There's a conversation to be had that he deserves his money. If Gobert's getting that amount of money, why can't he? And we're talking about a guy that it's led to championships.
Yeah, I actually like that topic. And he's kind of old though, but I think the way he plays ages well. I think he can play that way for another 5 years, and like his he should want the max. He has like
Without a doubt.
he has a huge value to Golden State, and I can see why Golden State wouldn't want to max him out. But I guess I gotta say I feel both sides on that.
My thing is, if he looks for other options, where at that point when his contract ends, where is it going to be the other options?
Miami.
He's playing with LeBron.
They're not going to have
Come to LA. Mwah. So well said. Come to LA.
Figure out
LeBron's
the
gonna
money.
be 40.
And
Figure out the money.
he just averaged 30 points.
Figure out
Throw some
the
respect
money.
on his name, all right? He could do that. They would
Sure?
do that.
Okay.
Russ
He
is
wants a
gone.
max.
Get him out.
LeBron's not Tom Brady.
What are you insinuating?
That he's not gonna play to the level that Tom Brady's continued to play
What
at.
are you
at
talking
his age.
about? That's a porous take. Porous.
So you think at 41 he's gonna be doing what he's
He
doing?
could.
He
No.
could be.
Could.
I,
Just
I,
hater
I,
talk.
I highly doubt
Nah,
it.
Why?
realistically,
Are you
like-
sound like Max
Why?
Kellerman?
Oh God.
Is that what
can't
you
give
want?
I can't give you a why. I can't give you
Father time.
reasoning.
You can say
Yeah,
father
that's it.
time.
I'm just saying old age. That's really it.
So Tom Brady, so you were one of those
Father
guys?
time. He's beating.
Can I
Father
ask you
time at
that?
the moment.
Were you one of those guys?
No.
So then why are you that guy with LeBron?
Because I think
That's
basketball is
kinda
different.
gross.
It's
Why
more of
can't
a-
he
it's-
just be like?
I think basketball.
what's up? Why
I think
can't he do that?
basketball is more of a grind.
I don't know if he'll still be in the NBA at 41, but he could. He's 6'8", like he has a default button of just like I could put my head down and I could drive right and I'll get this layup. Like he has that default whatever up until age probably 50.
Yeah, I forgot you were a LeBron fan.
And he
Makes
also
sense.
has worked on his jump shooting tremendously.
No, yeah, for sure. But I just
40
I
is
just,
kind of
yeah,
crazy in the NBA.
That's 40 years old.
At
bro.
that ability, like we seen the last
It's
time
already
we
crazy what he's doing right now.
The last time we seen a guy do that at 40 VC, he was like a role player.
Yeah, but LeBron's
More what?
going to turn 38 this season and just averaged 30 points.
No, I do like the Draymond to Miami though.
Yeah.
I think Draymond to Miami it fits the Heat
fits.
culture.
Absolutely.
It fits
They
the Heat
won't have the
culture.
money to do.
Or he go to the Knicks.
Oh my god. Bum it.
Sign and trade. You
no,
guys
but
get
I
Julius.
do think
And they get Julius. Excuse me.
I do think Draymond is worth the
You got to give him
max.
the money.
He's worth it.
You got to give him the money.
He's worth it.
Max is tough.
No, I don't think. I think it's a no-brainer.
You guys lose Draymond Green. Are you guys repeating?
Oh, they lose Draymond.
We won't lose Draymond Green next season. Like,
I'm just saying.
Warriors are not winning another championship without Draymond Green.
that's fine. How value is like my thing is a max contract. Like Draymond Green is a special type of basketball player in a sense of his value is beyond his numbers, right? So a max contract at his age, which he'll be like 33 at the end of this contract or something like
That's
that.
fine.
It's fine, but it's like it's gonna be tough. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like he doesn't give you that offense.
He does.
And then he can possibly be falling off a cliff, realistically. So I don't know. Like, is he worth the max right now? Yeah, but in a year or two, I don't know.
How old's PJ Tucker? Off the top of your head, do you know?
37.
You tell me Draymond Green. can't.
Draymond will age well.
That's what I'm thinking. Like,
What
for a
will he
max?
do now? What will he do now that he can't do in 4 years? Like he doesn't play.
I don't think he can anchor a defense in 4 years.
but we see PJ Tucker take the toughest assignment at that age. Why can't Draymond Green, who's a better defender than PJ?
Because
Draymond's not. His defense isn't like on ball
Exactly.
lateral. Like his is like
Well, PJ Tucker, for starters, doesn't have the mileage of Draymond Green. That's number one. So the mileage, it matters. It
Are you saying
why-
because of like the continuous playoff?
continuous playoffs, and
Uh-huh.
Draymond and PJ came into the league.
I mean, there was
later
2
on.
seasons
So-
where they
and
didn't play any playoff basketball.
PJ Tucker can hit 3-pointers. You forgot that part of the basketball
but you
game.
also forget that Draymond Green's an amazing facilitator.
He is, but he also becomes sometimes unguardable because he doesn't want to
Unplayable,
score
correct.
or he can't
Mhm,
score.
mhm.
So it's like, will he age well? Probably, but will he max money age well?
Mhm.
I don't know.
Well, you give max money to players who are the most valuable on your team.
At
And
that time.
Draymond has shown he can be the second best player on the championship team.
I'm just saying, if Golden State felt that way, they would have gave him the money.
Listen, Rudy Gobert got $200
They
million.
had to do it.
But Golden State has to do this.
Not necessarily.
So you're
I don't
fine
think
with
Golden State
They
has
don't have to do it.
so then their championship window for what? Is Kuminga coming in immediately and filling a role like that? No way.
Probably not, but they don't have to do it. They can wait.
You have Kuminga and Wiseman.
Like they can legitimately wait.
Is that making up for not only the mental toughness that
Nothing's
he
gonna make up for
instills-
Draymond.
No,
I mean, that's what you have to. That's what you draft him for.
I get it, but at the same time, Draymond, of course, Steph Curry's the leader of the team, but in the sense of when you're on the court, what guy makes the opposing team feel like they can't beat you, it's Draymond's constant chatter.
Okay.
He got in Grant Williams' head and completely derailed him the entire series.
I'm just looking at it like from an organization standpoint, their big three is very important. It is important, but you got to keep the young boys. And with Wiggins' contract coming up, Poole contract coming up.
So if you have to choose one, pay Wiggins or pay Draymond, who are you paying?
In 2 years?
Yeah.
I would probably pay. That's fucking tough.
Wiggins was just your second best player.
That's why I don't.
I get it. I would listen. If you're saying Wiggins, I don't.
Where is Steph at this point in life?
Good question. That's a.
I say you got to pay Draymond. It's out of respect.
I agree.
Out of respect,
Wiggins,
yes, but if Steph will be,
you can replace Wiggins. It's hard, but you can.
It's a good question.
Steph will be 36 in 2 years. Is Steph still? Is he ready to retire? Because if he is, I'm not paying Draymond Green. Because that means the timeline is shifting.
I get what
to
you're
the
saying.
young guys.
Yeah.
Do you think they all just retire at the same time?
Probably not Clay. I think Dre goes when Steph goes though. He's that type of,
I think Clay is
the
definitely
way they play, they could play for another 4 or 5 years
At a high level.
But I feel like Steph Curry's legs, you just pray that nothing happens to him. I'm saying the amount of running that he has to do.
Saying?
I just, bro, the amount of cardio, the amount of mileage that.
I gotta get going. I gotta work. I gotta go too.
Oh, all good, bro.
All right, this sounds good.
But I appreciate you guys having me. You guys still about to talk football after this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we are.
This is what we do, man.
Props to you guys.
Hey, man, we appreciate you coming on to the show. We appreciate you taking the time out. Go get your grind in,
Yes, sir.
No, I appreciate you guys having me.
Absolutely.
All
right, bro.
Take
Thanks.
it easy,
Have a
Brody.
good day.
Have a good night. This is crazy.
On to the Would You Rather Anthony Davis edition. Let's do it. Let's get
go.
into
Easy
it.
money.
Would
Hey, Disney.
Would you rather Anthony Davis edition, first name up, Karl Anthony Towns?
AD.
Cat.
But why?
Don't stop.
My God. Like, it makes no sense. Like, there's no logical explanation.
You really can't help yourself.
I'm just
Kyrie Irving.
Kyrie.
Anthony Davis? Like, what are we what are you doing? What are you doing?
Joel Embiid.
Joel Embiid.
We're saying healthy.
Fully healthy.
Anthony Davis.
Zion Williamson.
Oof. I can't say Anthony
Oofed on
Davis.
this,
I know.
but
That's what I'm saying.
give
I
it a
can't say.
cat.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I can't
Zion
say.
Williamson.
This is agenda based as hell. Why are you letting this slide?
It says Would You Rather.
Thank you, right?
But why?
Stop. Come
You're
on.
not giving any explanation. You're just doing this to be a prick.
I'm not. What's wrong with Nah, I'm not.
I'm going Anthony Davis
Actually, who would I
also.
rather? I would rather these guys.
But why?
They're better right now.
Huh?
All these guys are better basketball players right now.
Karl Anthony Towns is not a better basketball player than
He is.
AD. No.
Much better shooter. Oh my god.
Yeah, okay.
Jason Tatum.
Tatum.
I would go JT. But a healthy AD, I'm going AD.
No, you can't retract. You said one time I would take Tatum over everybody except Giannis. You can't retract.
All right.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. JT.
Damian Lillard.
Dollar.
Anthony Davis.
Nikola Jokic.
The 2-time MVP.
Jokic.
Paul George.
PG-13.
Anthony Davis.
So you're banking on Anthony Davis being healthy, fully healthy. He's better than all these guys.
For sure.
Except Tatum.
That's
the Joker.
close. Jokic got it. He's a 2-time MVP. You can't disrespect.
But you did say AD was the best big man in the league when healthy.
Listen, I still feel that he just got to prove it. He's a 2-time MVP. Like, you got to respect him. At that point, you got to respect him.
Oh my! This is what I mean by Andy is overrated.
How is he overrated?
You trying to put him over the 2-time MVP?
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. Did I?
You
Did I?
thought about it.
You
No, I
did think
didn't.
about
I
it.
didn't think about it. I said Jokic. I said
But
Jokic.
you was like, we got to still see when he comes back healthy.
Yeah, but that's facts. We see what AD can do when he's
I
at
seen it.
100.
Yeah, I seen it. Shit stir.
Like, are you gonna allow him to be this agenda
Why would
based?
you rather?
You're really allowed this.
If we're talking about fully healthy, I'm taking Embiid, Jokic,
Embiid, come on.
and that's it over AD. Fully healthy.
My thing with the fully healthy thing is his fully healthy could literally not be the same thing it was 2-3 years ago. So it's like I get the
He's
fully
20,
healthy.
he's 28, 29.
I get the fully healthy part, but I gotta go with what I seen when he was healthy for the portions of the times he was healthy. So I would take a lot of those guys over him right now.
It's ridiculous, but you're
He
allowed your
can
opinion.
change my mind. He can. He's one of the few guys. Him and Harden, one of the few guys that can change my mind like the the second.
Well, Harden's going to do it for sure.
Okay.
This week in
I'll
the
put my
NBA,
luck in. I'll put my money on Anthony Davis.
this week in the NBA was sponsored by NBA Top Shot. And last week, we picked out moments that were MVP moments.
Correct.
Are who we think is going to be MVP. The week before was the best rookie moment. Now this week is the best moment from a player we picked that we believe is going to win most improved player. So first up is Drew's highlights.
I had to turn up the highlights because I'll tell you what, they've been kind of lackluster on my end. I'll be honest, guys. I got to do better for y'all. But
which
this
is
highlight,
LaMelo Ball. Yep. Let's look at this
thing of
highlight right
beauty.
here. It's just starting for me, actually.
Oh my goodness gracious!
Tough. Very tough. Very tough. I've seen the
Making
highlight.
one of the best defenders
Overrated.
at the perimeter fall
Overrated.
over who? LaMelo? And that's for all the people that were saying that Garland's got a better ball handle than LaMelo.
He does.
Is Garland making Drew Holiday touch earth? I don't think so. Let's go on to the next highlight.
That was a good play, but I feel like because LaMelo didn't score, it wasn't that good. It wasn't even his assist. It was his pass to assist.
Are you really gonna hate on a guy making some dude fall?
Yep.
If Kelly Oubre didn't make the shot, then maybe. Oh my goodness.
Now
They were lost.
on to the next highlight, Tyrese Halliburton, which is Riv's MIP.
Wasn't many highlights for y'all. I'm sorry. Halliburton list is real short.
Let's see this. Yeah, honestly, dude, he just drives to the basket. Ooh, good switch.
Very tough.
That was nice.
That's a good layup.
That was nice.
Halliburton didn't have
This
many
is definitely the
highlights.
worst highlight.
He didn't have many highlights. I'm sorry. I couldn't find any.
Nah, but you also got played because Joel took yours.
He told me he was going to take RJ.
That was insane. Nah,
okay.
but this play by Anthony Edwards
He's
is
going to win. He has the highlight
yeah,
reel.
like,
pretty
that's,
much.
yeah.
He lost last week, though.
Man.
That was whack.
Wait, what do you mean I lost last week?
I thought I won last
Nah,
week.
the Embiid shot won.
Embiid won.
Wait.
Yeah, the Embiid
I
shot
didn't
won.
pick MV. Oh, I'm thinking the first week.
Yeah,
I won with the
cleared.
Kuminga one.
Yeah, that
There
was
we go.
lit. That was a
I
great.
cleared. That was
I mean, my highlights have been dope.
It's crazy.
So far.
How much did you spend on this Anthony Edwards one?
Way less than what you spent on
I
LaMelo.
spent way
Really?
less on both
Yeah.
of you.
This Anthony Edwards was maybe like $10.
You know what's crazy?
He just has so many
the
highlights.
Halliburton's was either $10 or $1,000, so it was no middle ground for me. I was
Yeah,
like,
nah, this LaMelo one was expensive. I won't even lie to you guys.
Nah,
take
dunking on Trey Murphy like that's crazy.
No, this was an amazing highlight.
Yeah.
I'll take
But
it.
LaMelo made
and
Drew Holiday
KD
fall. Don't
and
forget that, yo.
And Kevin Durant's narrating this highlight.
Didn't I send you Jaden McDaniels?
What?
You did send me one,
I did, right?
Jaden.
That
But
one-
look, this,
that one was fire
Katie's
when I saw it.
narrating this one. Look at this.
Now I understand why it was $10. Because who the hell wants to listen to this monotone ass voice?
Tough.
That's KD.
I
Respect.
said
him.
what I said.
KD here.
No, yeah, Top Shot. Our collection on Top Shot is growing.
Essentially.
Yep.
KD
And
here.
I didn't mention this to you guys, but we are going to give away a lot of these moments.
Oh, without a doubt.
So if you join Top Shot, you're going to be eligible to be in these giveaways, and we're going to give away some good cards. We're going to give away a Steph Curry playoff moment. That's for sure, certain. We have two, so we have
You're
the
right
ability to give one.
You're right there.
What?
We're going to give away Steph Curry playoff moment.
All right.
Bro, we already did that.
The fans deserve it. You saying otherwise?
That's tough. Just well, no, I deserve it.
So yeah, you can join NBA
You
Top
make me
Shot.
sick.
Link in our
Why
bio
don't we just give
to get
away
a starter pack to
a
join.
AD?
Create
Down
your
below.
account,
Oh,
and then
down
you'll
below.
be eligible to get a card from a
Correct,
giveaway. One of
correct.
these moments. And we're gonna have a pick a side set, I believe, too, with all these moments, the best moments from the MVP, rookie, MIP stuff. We'll have all that. So definitely looking forward to it. I think I'm gonna win this week again.
Probably. You stole my guy, and then
I think mine's more difficult to do, given the fact that
stop.
Drew Holiday's
Stop.
arguably the best perimeter defender at the
Stop
point guard
it.
position.
Stop. You lose. You're gonna lose. I'm
said
gonna come in
doop, doop.
last, but you're gonna
Doop, doop.
lose.
I
You
don't
haven't
know.
won
I
a
think Tyrese might come in second.
You haven't won a week yet.
No, I've been in last every single week.
Get better.
That's 'cause
I mean,
your
this is a
highlights
great
have been
highlight.
horrible.
They have
You
been.
tried to throw that weak ass AD highlight. We told you don't pick that one, bro.
Dude, it was a great alley oop and finish. What are we talking about here?
AD highlights. That was ridiculous.
This highlights is lit though. Without a doubt.
drop somebody this time. Drop somebody
And it's Drew Holiday.
Before we go on to the football portion of this show, support for the Pick a Side podcast is brought to you by Manscaped,
Nice.
who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are
below the waist? I mean
precision
your balls.
engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped Performance Package, the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 6 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code PICKASIDE at manscaped.com. Pick a side at Manscaped. Save 20%.
Love
you know
you,
what I've been
Manscaped.
using
Absolutely
a lot?
love you.
I've actually been using the ball deodorant a lot.
Really?
It's my go-to. And when I get out the shower, you know.
You be having the stank gooch?
The first thing I do when I get out the shower.
Nah, my whole Manscaped. I think.
But you have one already, bro.
I gave it to my father.
But you said you had two.
No, but I gave that one to my father.
Ah.
Hey, Manscaped, can y'all do me a favor and send me another
One
one?
more.
Please? Yeah, please. River, please. Just throw me another one. You know what I'm
Get a
saying?
size up in the underwear too, bro. Trust.
I don't care for the underwear. I like the shirts, though. Send me another
Nah,
shirt.
I think
please.
Riv can wear some tight underwear. He's really skinny.
Nah, the large underwear are too small.
I have a snatched waist.
You do have a snatched
You do have a
waist.
snatched waist.
What, bro? Did I?
Nah, I do have a little snatched waist.
I won't lie. For whatever reason, I just literally said.
Do you have like the V? Do you have the V?
What?
The V.
What are you saying to me?
So when you
Like
take
the
your shirt
V
off,
waist.
bro, do you know that how people like are so shredded they have the V cut?
Oh no,
Are you
no.
V cut?
He's getting really. He wants to get really graphic with you.
When I take my shirt off, I have to look. You know what? I'll take a flick and you let me know. I'll send you later. We're very comfortable here. We don't get women.
He's just gonna send me a pic of him.
You got to throw it in the group
Just
chat so it's not
casually.
that bad.
It doesn't bother me.
Yeah,
Phase
no,
me one
facts.
bit. So
Okay.
yeah, I'll send it. And you can tell me if I have the.
No, that sounds good. Send me
Alright, I'll
later
send
for
it to
sure.
you.
I'm gonna be looking
No,
forward
I'm
to
actually
that text.
curious if I do have the.
Do you have a 6-pack or no?
I have a 4-pack.
4-pack?
You probably have the V, bro. I have the V, and you're a lot skinnier than I am.
Do you have abs?
I have like a similar.
But you
4-pack.
put in pain. I don't really.
Yeah,
I'm
no, I
just
won't
built.
lie. I definitely try to get it. It sucks.
Mine's is like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Natural beauty.
in a sense, like I'm skinny, but like you could see.
You mean like shit.
Yeah, but you could see there's some form of physique I'm supposed
sure,
to have.
for sure.
Like, I just.
If you really dedicated yourself to the grind.
Yeah, nah, it's cool. I'm gonna eat like shit and just do what I do.
It's really unfair that some people have the genetics to
Oh,
be
hey, this guy.
ripped.
My dad's, he's pretty.
Listen,
big.
man, I eat like shit. At the same time, you
No,
just
you
work
don't.
out.
Do you?
Nah, I
But
kind
I
of.
feel like if you and Riv work out the same amount, physique wise, Riv will look more built. He has the genetics.
What's going on here? What's going on here?
What's wrong?
Come on. Come on. Listen, this is where I'm at right now. Like, bro, this is pretty good.
I think I can. I'll probably look more.
You can get on this size?
No, I probably can't get bigger than you,
Yeah,
but
I
I'll
don't
look
think-
more
yeah.
toned than you.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Wholeheartedly,
I
I
think
agree
that's
with
how it
that.
was.
Correct.
But just following up on the Manscaped stuff.
Thank you for that.
So when you get the Manscaped 4.0 performance package, that's what it's called. You get the Lawnmower 4.0. You get the Weed Whacker nose trimmer, and
That was a great
and-
addition.
And an ear like hair removal, whatever.
Ear trimmer also.
Yeah, ear trimmer also. The Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, Performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold all of that stuff. So you can get 20% off at manscaped.com with code PICKASIDE. Please use it. Help us out. Helps out the show. Helps out the brand.
Love you, Manscaped.
It's for the brand,
being
for
you.
the balls.
Take
for the
care of those
balls.
things, man.
Send me one, please. Another one.
My balls don't clap how they used to.
Clap? What does that even mean?
That was crazy.
What
Why'd
do you mean
say that?
clap?
So
I don't know. I feel
nonchalant.
like they shrunk a little bit.
How so, man?
I really don't.
I don't know why I'm asking, but
Maybe it's
I'm
because
really
I'm
curious.
not retaining much semen nowadays.
What the hell is going on?
Where's this coming? Like,
Hey,
but why?
But do you think semen retention leads
what
to
the hell
your-
are you doing?
your balls being bigger or no?
it actually has to do with like the compression that
I
goes
know
on.
when you shave, you never mind.
I mean, bro, he already has mentioned like semen retention. We're already so
No,
far
they actually
gone.
do say that. They actually did say that. What's the saying that?
Your girth gets
No, the saying for when you cut the leaves, the tree looks bigger.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
It's
you're-
like something one of those.
Yo,
things
we
I
are
forgot.
crazy. Oh, nah, never mind.
Yeah. So if you really want to, for whatever reason, stop wearing compression underwear.
Why?
Oh yeah, I'd never wear
Go back.
compression.
So you only wear boxers.
Why?
Because the tightness of it like for whatever reason, it like cuts it off, and not cuts it off, but like slows down the process. Whereas if you're just wearing boxers, they're basically just hanging low the whole day.
No, I used to.
Have you ever seen Juno?
Nah.
There's a scene where he's one of the guys is running, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm trying to work on getting my sperm count up, so I'm just gonna wear boxers all the time, and that's it."
Oh, that's really a fact.
Yeah.
I used to just be able to move my legs like this back and forth, and you'd hear a. But now it doesn't happen anymore.
We got big ass nuts.
I have to really
Why
like.
did you make the?
I have
why
to-
did you do that?
I have to really swing.
But bro, why are you trying to make your nuts clap? Is the question.
It's just funny to me, just doing it. Sometimes I just do it randomly.
Clapping your balls is funny to you?
Yeah.
It sounds painful as fuck.
Nah, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt.
God, now this guy just got a mental image in my head. All I can picture is Joel just like standing there like a sumo wrestler. and just,
wait. So you're picturing another man?
It's his fault.
No,
it's
wait,
his
wait.
fault.
Just so I can clarify, you're
Yeah,
picturing
yes,
another man
I
in your
guess yes.
mind
I
clapping
guess
his balls.
yes. He did it to me. Listen, he just
He
went
did
on a
it
whole
to you.
Oh my God. Yes, it's his fault.
Wow, that's tough. You know what? I don't judge.
Just went on a whole semen retention.
You're still my
spiel.
guy, no matter which
Thanks,
way you
bro. I
swing.
appreciate
You know what
that.
I'm saying?
Love 2022.
Still my guy,
Appreciate
no
you,
matter
man.
what.
Appreciate you.
Dreaming about
openness.
another man is nuts.
Dreaming, come on now.
Sometimes I
Visualizing.
I feel like I've been dreaming.
Hey, Manscaped, this is really all you're doing. We appreciate this, right? We just go completely off script.
On to the football portion of the podcast.
Let's see how you come. Let's see it.
Now,
What a horrible way to
Devontae
start.
Adams
Yes.
made some comments about Derek Carr. He told Josina Anderson that anytime you change quarterbacks from Hall of Famer to Hall of Famer, it's going to be a little bit of an adjustment. And the whole internet went wild because they're like, how can you call Derek Carr a Hall of Famer? And then Aaron Rodgers came back and he basically mimicked what Devontae Adams said when a reporter asked Aaron Rodgers, how is it going from Devontae to Allen Lazard? He basically said, yeah, I mean, it's always tough going from a Hall of Famer to Hall of Famer. He said that about Allen Lazard and then said, but then Aaron Rodgers said, but realistically, from Devontae to Allen, it's going to be a transition, but he's capable of a lot. He speaks very
There's
highly of
definitely
Allen
some
Lazard.
excitement going on with Allen Lazard.
Wide receiver number one.
Yeah, no, he's got to be because who else is it going to be? Watkins?
That's
Christian
low-key.
Watson, you
That's-
saw that he's going to miss some time, or he's at least going to miss a little bit of camp.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, it's disappointing. Really is disappointing because he definitely has a lot of hype going along with his name, especially with the opportunity you could see. But to talk about Derek Carr being a Hall of Famer, maybe one day, but at this current point in time, I don't know how we can sit here and say that he's a Hall of Famer. The question that you phrased for us, at least, is will he eventually be a Hall of Fame quarterback? As it currently stands right now, I don't see how it's possible. Right now, at least where we stand. 48th all-time in passing yards, 57th all-time in touchdowns, 32nd all-time in completions. To his credit, 17th highest passer rating. However, I'm not going to put too much stock in that because Jared Goff is 20th on that list on passer rating. So I want to preface this by saying this. He's 31 years old. He's at a good point in his career. He's coming off the best season of his career. I believe, given the fact that this offense just got revamped by adding Devontae Adams, that automatically puts Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow in better positions where they're not going to be seeing, specifically Darren Waller, not going to be seeing double coverage. Devontae Adams is going to draw a ton of attention, and the field's just going to open up. And Derek Carr is going to be the beneficiary. His numbers are going to translate that. And I think that we're going to look at a career year for Derek Carr. He's coming off already a career year, 2021, but I do believe that Derek Carr is going to play at an extremely high level this year, given the fact that this offense has a plethora of weapons. Do not be surprised if Derek Carr's name's in the MVP conversation. I think that from this point forward, he has a lot of time, especially at the age of 31, to put together a Hall of Fame resume. But right now, you have no playoff wins. You cannot be put into the Hall of Fame conversation because people were already trashing Matthew Stafford. And this is a guy who, Matthew Stafford at the minimum, is top 12, top 10 in a lot of passing categories. So
longevity.
Correct. Well, he's got 5 years on him. I agree.
That's a lot.
It is, but at the same time, 48th all-time, 57th all-time, 32nd all-time. He's 31.
48th
he has
all-time, and two after this season, he's going to jump up to like top 35.
Still not top 25, not top
Yes, but
20.
we just said he has 5 years on him.
He
though.
does.
That's
He
a
does.
lot.
You're right. But at the same time, it's 2 years in between. I counted totality, but there's 2 years when Matthew Stafford missed.
For me, You mentioned that this was his career, but I thought 2016 was another one of his years
Fair
where
enough.
he was amazing. And
I agree.
No, that was his best season.
yeah, the
by far.
injury derailed.
I don't know. Think about how little he had this season.
He was
Still his best season.
he was one of his
I
best.
disagree.
He was in MVP talks.
He was about to win
The
it.
injury messed him up.
Dude,
It messed the team
Derek
up. They lost.
Carr
I think he was
was
31
fantastic
and 10
this
that
year.
year, if I'm not mistaken.
12. I think they went 12-4. 12
went
and 3. You said
12-4.
12-3.
No, I said was he 31 and 10?
So okay, okay. For one, in this past season, Derek Carr threw for 4,800 yards, 23 touchdowns, 14 picks.
Yep.
In 2015, he threw 32 touchdowns, 13 picks,
God, I was
4,000
so close.
yards. 2016, he threw 28 touchdowns, 6 picks, 4,000
He got
yards.
some years.
This past year in 2020, threw for 27 touchdowns, 9 picks, 4,000 yards.
No, that's 2 seasons ago.
No, 2020.
This past season, 4,800,
2020 was
23
2 seasons ago.
touchdowns.
No. This past season, it was 4,800. But
Yeah, correct.
The year before
That's
that,
what I said 2 seasons
it
ago.
was 4,000, 27
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
touchdowns, 9 interceptions. I don't think that Derek Carr's not coming off his best season.
Dude, 4,800 with Hunter Renfrow as your number one and
Yeah, I wouldn't say
Darren
this is
Waller
his
missing 6,
best
7 games.
season. I don't think this is his best season. I think it's a great
Me
year.
personally, I think that this was his best year. The offensive line was derailed for sure.
2020, the offensive line was bad too.
Okay, fine, but he was better than he was in 2020.
2020, he was better.
No, he was not.
Yes, he was.
Why? Because he threw 5 less interceptions?
No, well, he threw that and more touchdowns, and he was a more efficient quarterback.
Hunter Renfrow was his only wide receiver this season.
2020, yeah, Amari, right?
And no.
Amari's been gone.
Waller was healthy the
I didn't
entirety of 2020. Waller was amazing. He solidified himself as a top 3 tight end. This past season, he missed a significant amount of time,
Talk to me.
and he turned Hunter Renfrow into an 1,100 9-touchdown receiver.
I hate
Credit
when
to Hunter
you- I hate
Renfrow.
when you
Credit
do
to Hunter
that.
Renfrow. Credit to Hunter Renfrow for sure, because I understand that
Did
was
Derek
coming.
Carr not get Nelson Aguilar paid
Exactly,
in 2020?
but that's a credit to Derek Carr.
No, I'm saying
point.
that's a credit, but he's not
You
this.
just held my point.
No, I didn't.
You
because
did.
The point is that this past season wasn't his best season.
No, but it was.
No, it wasn't.
The offensive line was terrible.
The offensive line was terrible in 2022.
No, but it was especially bad this year where they just lost 3 starters.
It was horrible in 2020 still.
Are you sure about that?
Yes. They're one of the worst units.
All right, let's see.
And their defense
Yeah,
was
Riff.
ranked 30th.
No, their defense was terrible. It was really bad.
Yeah, he had more
Really
help this
bad.
year in terms like all around.
Offensively, you can't say that.
All around this year as a team, yes.
Maybe defensively. Offensively, you can't say that.
Offensively, Hunter Renfrow took a big step forward.
For sure, but that also had to do with opportunity.
Yeah, Nelson Aguilar's not there. Ruggs is not there. In the beginning of the year, Ruggs was doing
And
good
Waller
too.
missed time as well.
Yeah, but this past season it wasn't Derek Carr's best year.
If that's your opinion, fine.
No,
but
that is the right opinion.
if that's what you believe,
Derek Carr was
fine.
still great this year, but it wasn't his best season.
I personally believe, given the fact that he had as much happen to the team, the Ruggs
Talk about
incident,
adversity.
that on top of losing 3 out of the 5 starters, I think 4 out of the 5 starters on your offensive line, you lose your number 1 option in Darren Waller for a good portion of the season. You turn Hunter Renfrow into statistically a top 15 wide receiver last season. Come on now.
Why is it always a quarterback turned the receiver into this? Like Hunter Renfrow was good.
He was solid.
He's a top 3 slot in the league. He's a great receiver.
Top 3 slot in the league.
Yes, Cooper Kupp.
Why'd you repeat it?
Then who else?
I mean, just think about how many great receivers just go into the slot.
Think about slot receivers. Like that's
Like
what they
Tyreek
do.
Hill.
Tyreek Hill, yeah, he's better, but he plays on the outside end of the slot.
But that's what I'm saying. A lot of the great guys slide into that slot also.
Yes, but players that play the majority of their snaps,
I
at least
understand what you're
60% or more of their snaps in the slot. Hunter Renfrow's a top 3 slot in the league.
I don't feel like
He's one of the better route runners in the league. He was getting double teamed.
He was. No, he definitely is a great route runner.
with Darren Waller on the field.
Definitely. Well, it's because Darren Waller was just one of those. He was just not him.
I just
self
don't
last
like the
season.
thing where you do this a lot too, where you're like, oh, this quarterback made this guy.
Most often than not, that's
Renfrow
true.
was just he's a good player.
So when
He's a
Brandon
good
Stokely
player.
had 1,000 yards with Peyton Manning,
Brandon Stokely's not Hunter Renfrow, bro. Hunter
I'm just
Renfrow's
saying
better
this-
than Brandon Stokely.
Brandon Stokely was a solid receiver.
He's not Hunter Renfrow though.
Hunter Renfrow had one great season. You're talking about Hunter Renfrow like his first Battle Hall of Famer.
No, I'm just talking about Hunter Renfrow like he's a good player,
He is a good player,
He's
but
a
so
good
was Brandon
player.
Stokely back in the day.
but he's not Hunter Renfrow.
But like, so subjective.
It just wasn't his best season last year.
If that's your opinion,
If you
fine.
want to say like he dealt with the most adversity, then yeah,
and he played as well as he
That's
did.
true.
He had almost
that's
5,000
true.
yards.
But Derek Carr Okay, so just because a player had his most passing yards in the season, that makes it his best season?
He had no offense. I've given so many reasons.
You just said adversity. That's it. And then,
But I've listed
yards.
how many items of adversity.
The Henry Ruggs situation.
And
John
the
Gruden
offensive
getting
line.
fired.
John Gruden getting fired.
John Gruden getting fired was better for them. The Raiders didn't collapse in the second half of the year. In 2019 and 2020, they started out 6-4,
Listen,
and then
John
then
Gruden
missed
deserved to get
playoffs.
fired 100%, but we can't talk about John Gruden like he's not still an offensive genius.
He's not. They collapsed in both years, 2019 and
The
2020.
team wasn't good.
But they were good in the first half of the season. They were 6-4, and they collapsed.
Schedule was relatively light.
Their schedule was light down the stretch too, and they choked those games.
This season, the schedule was pretty tough, and they clutched.
Yes, because Rich Bisaccia was he turned out to be good for
So
them.
why didn't they retain him?
Because they just did it.
Guys.
But it's not it's not the players' fault. The players
Derek Carr was great.
literally wanted to retain Rich Bisaccia. They wanted to.
No, for sure. I'm not saying you're wrong there.
So that was an organization
but
going
Derek
from
Carr
wanting to
was
get
next
Josh.
level.
I'm not saying Derek Carr is not great, bro.
I'm not saying you're not saying
I
that.
love Derek Carr, but you cannot look at this past season and say that's his best season of his career.
I can.
There was a season when he was a top 2 MVP candidate. It just doesn't make sense.
I understand what you're saying.
If you're in an MVP race, was Derek Carr anywhere near the MVP conversation this
No.
past season? But he was in 2016.
Yeah.
So how was this past season better?
Because there's a lot more talent this year.
Because he made the
league.
playoffs? That's why?
Hunter Renfrow was his only reliable option this season. I've already said every single reason what I'm saying. So if you want me to repeat myself, I'd be happy to. But I know you guys don't like that.
2020, he played better, and the situation was about the same. The defense was significantly worse.
I mean, you're saying that he played better in terms of...
We're talking about a Raiders team whose pass rush is one of the best. They generated the most pressure without blitzing of any team in the NFL. Their pass rush was...
More than San Fran?
Yeah. Without blitzing, yes. The Raiders were number one
you're saying
in
without
pressure.
blitzing. I apologize.
The Raiders were number one in pressure percentage with Max Crosby and Yannick Ngakoue. Their defense, even though it's been horrible every year Derek Carr's been in the league, their defense was better this year than any year that Derek Carr's been with the Raiders. Derek Carr, he hasn't been in a good situation with the Raiders his entire career. They've had a bottom 20 defense.
2015 was a really good situation.
2015?
That was the year that he was amazing.
2015, he was a rookie.
No, his rookie season was 2014.
Okay, 2014. 1 year off.
Well, I'm just
Derek
saying
Carr,
that was the year that they went 12-4.
But every season of Derek Carr's career with the Raiders, they've had a bottom 20 defense.
I agree.
And that year, they had Khalil Mack on defense. He's a great player. He was an elite game-changing player.
Absolutely.
Their offensive line was good, but really the weapons, it was Amari Cooper, then really who else? Michael Crabtree, who was
He was
solid.
really good.
Michael Crabtree. So you're going to call Michael Crabtree really good, but Hunter Renfrow doesn't
He
get
is
that?
good. I've never said that Hunter Renfrow wasn't good. I've literally never said that.
You said really good for Crabtree.
He was.
You said, but for Hunter Renfrow, Derek Carr made him.
But that
Are you
Crabtree had
serious?
success prior though.
with in the San Fran, bro.
Exactly.
Michael Crabtree
And?
was a disappointment of a player.
I don't disagree, but he was still solid.
He was a highly coveted wide receiver, a first-round pick coming out of
course.
college. He was supposed to be a superstar.
Tough.
He was a disappointment.
For what his standards were, you could say that, sure, but he still was a solid wide receiver.
Michael Crabtree, bro. He gets the really good label, but, Derek Carr made Renfrow.
For those two
Who's better?
to be together, who?
Renfrow or Crabtree?
Oh, goodness.
It's not even a debate, bro.
Would you call them like the same tier?
I think Renfrow is a great route runner. He has some solid hands. I feel like for what the current NFL asks for, Hunter Renfrow definitely fits a lot more teams.
Crabtree had 2 1,000-yard receiving seasons.
And they were they both with?
He was a 10th overall pick in the draft.
What teams were they with?
In San Fran,
Okay.
Crabtree, I'm just going by the years.
Yeah.
625 yards, 741, 874. Then in 2012, he had 1,105 yards. Then in 2013, he played 5 games, 284. 2014, he had 700 yards, a little under. 2015, he goes to Oakland. He has 922. 2016 has 1,003, so he barely makes the cut of 1,000 yards.
He was a number 2.
Yeah.
He was, because Amari was the guy.
And then in 14 games in 2017, he had 618 yards. And then in 2018, his last full season starting, he had 607.
He was always a number 2.
He was an all right player.
Yeah.
He gets the really good
2,000 1,000-yard seasons. Still nothing to scoff at.
Yeah, but you gave him the really good label, and Hunter Renfrow gets he was made by Derek
gave
Carr.
him if that's what you want to isolate and that's what you use for your argument, fine. But at the same time, we can all sit here and acknowledge that I've said Hunter Renfrow is really good. But at the same time, I can also say Derek Carr, he benefited having
numbers?
Correct.
Well, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Any great quarterback's
So
going to
why are we
benefit a
nitpicking?
receiver. You literally said he made Hunter Renfrow into that, though.
He did.
That's what
the
you
opportunity
said. So now you're
presented
doubling
itself.
down on it.
But it's a little bit of both. Why can't it be? Why
it's
can't it be a little bit of both?
Because Hunter Renfrow's a good player. He's
He
gonna
is.
he's gonna have success with literally any quarterback.
Really?
That's a top 15 quarterback.
Top
in the league.
15.
But Renfrow, I mean, he goes to a bunch of situations. He's gonna have success, bro.
Like, are you
'Cause he's a
taking
good
Hunter
player.
Renfrow over Amon-Ra?
Yes.
Really?
Right now, yes, I am. Hunter Renfrow's a better player than Amon-Ra.
Amon-Ra just ate with Jared Goff.
Yeah.
Jared Goff's nowhere near the top 15.
He was the only, but Amon-Ra is.
Here we go. That's my point. Opportunity. He was the only guy. I agree.
But Hunter Renfrow is still one of the better slots.
No doubt.
Like Amon-Ra's, but Amon-Ra's really good.
He is.
Are you gonna say Jared Goff made him?
Absolutely not.
Why?
Because Jared Goff's not good.
So, but Derek Carr
He
made Hunter Renfrow.
He's borderline amazing. I would say Derek Carr's amazing.
Hunter Renfrow is one of the more reliable receivers in the NFL.
No doubt.
Third down, target that guy. He gets you.
He has reliable hands.
He moves the chains.
He's really good.
He moves the
I
chains.
agree.
He's one of the best third down receivers in the NFL.
I don't disagree.
So to say Derek Carr makes him when he's getting open is ridiculous.
But Derek Carr can come on, man. You can't talk about it like Derek Carr
Renfro's
isn't
the one
isn't
getting
him.
open though. He's the one getting open.
And Derek Carr has to hit him regardless.
Okay, Derek Carr is hitting an open target.
But Derek Carr also has a terrible offensive line in front of him, has to extend plays, has to make things
Derek
happen.
Carr is hitting an open target, and it's Carr who's making him.
How
Like,
often
come
is
on,
he
bro.
open? Like, are we saying that's 100% always because he's getting open? Like, obviously there's a give and take.
He literally was the most open third down receiver in the NFL this past
Really?
year. Yeah, he was. He was.
You have that?
He was the best statistical third down receiver in the NFL this past year.
That I don't doubt. He's super reliable.
Yeah. But Derek Carr made him, right?
There's a little bit of both there.
Come on, bro.
Well,
There's nothing really to say, King.
no,
I mean, I thought you spoke already, but go ahead.
No, you guys. I let you guys
Uh-huh.
work because it
Apologize.
was very entertaining to watch you guys. The question is though about Derek Carr. It is not indeed about
I know.
Hunter Renfrow.
No doubt.
But nice debate you guys got there. Will he eventually be a Hall of Famer? Somebody said it. Longevity. It's
Yeah.
going to take a lot of longevity. He doesn't have the accolades. He doesn't have the All Pros. Like you said, he doesn't have the playoff accomplishments. And he is a top 15 quarterback, but that's pretty much where he's been at for around his career, top 10, top 15. So it's tough for a player like that. Even with Matthew Stafford, he had the numbers, but he didn't have the playoffs, the accolades. Now he has the Super Bowl. So now his resume goes up. So for Carr, it's all about longevity. This is probably his best year. He has the most weapons this year with Devontae Adams, Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller, a pretty nasty wide receiver
Josh
core.
Jacobs there too.
So this is a team that can compete. That's a tough division, though. He's always been in a tough division. Longevity is going to matter. Do I think he will eventually get in the Hall of Fame? Yeah, I think he can eventually do it. I think he's talented enough to do it, and he has the weapons enough to do it. It's just going to be consistent. He has to stay healthy. But I think eventually he can get it. Because like you said, all them numbers, he wasn't in top 20, top 35. He can get in those in about 2-3 seasons. So he'll have the numbers down the stretch. But he just has to win a couple more games in the playoffs. I think he could do it.
Derek Carr is not going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Sucks to be.
He's going to go into the Ring of Honor for the Raiders, though. He is going to go down as the best Raiders quarterback that they've ever had. There's no doubt about it. The NFL Hall of Fame is an exclusive list. It's an exclusive club to get into. And this is the argument that we had with Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford has less accolades than Derek Carr. He's a one-time Pro Bowler. He's now a Super Bowl champion. That is correct. But when you look like he has a Super Bowl on Derek Carr, which of course that's a big thing. Yep. But Derek Carr has more accolades than him.
In which sense?
Pro Bowls. He's 3-time Pro Bowler. Matthew Stafford's a 1-time Pro Bowler.
Stafford should have made the Pro Bowl this season.
He should have. He should have.
Josh Allen didn't even make the Pro Bowl.
I agree. There's been times that Stafford has gotten a snub from the Pro Bowl. I think it's been like 2-3 times he's gotten a snub.
Nasty.
So he should have more. But I think the NFL Hall of Fame is an exclusive club, and it's for the best of the best. It's for if you were a top 5 quarterback when you played at your time. That's not Derek Carr. That's not Matthew Stafford. The top, Hall of Fame quarterbacks.
What are we talking about
You
here?
think Matt Ryan can sneak in there?
Matt Ryan is going to be tough for him to get into the Hall of Fame. Just simply because he doesn't have a Super Bowl championship. He doesn't have a Super Bowl.
Tough.
If you are legitimately debating in your head whether or not Matt Ryan should be a Hall of Famer, then Stafford,
Maddie's
Derek
in.
Carr are not
So let
in.
me ask you,
Maddie's
if
in.
Maddie gets a MVP this year,
Is Phillip Rivers a Hall of Famer?
Yeah.
By the NFL standards,
maybe.
he's not.
Is Eli Manning a Hall of Famer?
Maybe.
Two Super Bowls. That's why.
And Phillip Rivers has the statistics.
Eli
yeah, I
might
know,
get
but
Eli might
in the
get
NFL, that's what matters.
And
The
Matt
Super
Ryan
Bowl
has the
championships.
MVP, and he has that in the statistics. He's gonna get in. Now Matthew Stafford has the Super
Is
Bowl.
Tony Romo a Hall of Famer?
No.
He's arguably had a better career than Stafford and Derek Carr.
How so?
In term,
Derek Carr, fine. But I agree with that. I would take Tony Romo over Derek Carr at this point. Stafford, I disagree.
Stafford got the numbers.
they're similar, Romo and Stafford.
The thing, not anymore.
This is the thing. Like,
It's off this past season. I understand.
the
It
Super
sounds
Bowl-
like recency
the Super Bowl,
bias. It
look,
sounds like
I know
it.
what you're saying.
Yes.
The Super Bowl championship, yes, it elevated Matthew Stafford into a different conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But that's one of the biggest gripes I have with the NFL Hall of Fame.
I agree.
Is that it is based less off of what a player had done for the entire body of work of their career and more so off of 3-4 games where you had an exceptional run. And even then, Matthew Stafford was in the picture-perfect situation with the LA Rams. Like, the Rams are one of those teams that they are one of those situations that a lot of quarterbacks can go into and win a championship.
But he was great statistically with the Lions.
Yeah, you're right.
But that's why I say that.
But Jared Goff is a bottom 25 quarterback in the NFL, and the Rams were a couple points away from winning it with him. Like,
they only scored 3 points in the Super Bowl.
The Rams could have had Dak Prescott, Kyler Murray, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Rodgers, Lamar Jackson, and I think that they'd have just as good of a chance to win a Super Bowl than they did with Matthew Stafford.
Lamar Jackson?
Yeah. What do you mean, Lamar Jackson?
Didn't Jared Goff had a really great year that year, though?
No, he did have a great year.
I say this.
That's the offensive
I say this
system.
because they played some tough rush defenses, and of course Lamar is still unguardable even against the best rush defenses. But even still, it took Matthew Stafford's arm to win them ball games in this postseason. I get what you're saying. It's fair. A lot of good quarterbacks could have went into that situation. I'm not disagreeing with that statement. I just think that it took someone.
Russ too.
Oh yeah, fine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with that. But at the same time, you're kind of You're trying to discredit Matthew Stafford's Super Bowl, even though he played great.
I'm
and
not
you know
discrediting.
that.
I'm not
And
discrediting.
I'm not
it.
saying that in a
I'm
rude
not
way.
discrediting it. I
truthfully.
just feel like I don't know why one Super Bowl run makes you an automatic lock to be a Hall of Famer.
Because on top of that, he has years and years and years of being statistically one of the best quarterbacks in the history of the game.
In the history of the game,
He's top 10 in a good amount of categories.
how are you saying in the history of the game when he's never been a top 5 quarterback in the NFL?
This past season, you could argue he was a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. You could
can
argue it,
yeah. But you'd lose that argument.
Maybe.
Pretty bad.
Mahomes is better. Josh
Yeah.
Allen is better.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers is better. Tom Brady is better.
And that's
Justin Herbert's better.
That's people argued that he's not even top 5.
But Justin Herbert is a better quarterback than Matthew Stafford.
You and I, we agree with that. But the general public might not agree with that.
Okay, but we're talking between us. So you agree that he's not a top 5 quarterback.
I could argue that Stafford's better.
And this past season was Stafford's best chance to be in that top 5 because
he was amazing.
He's coming off a championship.
But also, he threw 41 touchdowns.
But
he was
I
top
just
3
don't
in
like
yards.
how can we say Matthew Stafford? You just said he's one of the best quarterbacks in the history of the game.
Statistically. That's what I said. That's true.
It's just not though.
But,
Because you have to
it
take
is.
into account era.
But again, I'm giving Matt Ryan the nod. I'm
Like
giving
Joe
Matthew Stafford the
Montana.
nod.
Matthew Stafford's going to have way better numbers than Joe Montana.
Okay, but Joe
But he's
Montana
not.
is the second most winning quarterback of all time.
Yeah,
He's the second best quarterback ever.
Most of these quarterbacks in the modern NFL are gonna have those longevity numbers.
But then on top of it, yes, he has that Super Bowl MVP. Not the MVP. I
But
apologize. He has
but
a Super Bowl
Stafford has
ring.
no All Pros.
But he has multiple 5,000-yard seasons.
But he has no All Pros.
But you could have debated that he could be.
He's never been a top 3, top 5 quarterback in the NFL.
This past season, you could argue he was a top 5.
You can argue it, okay, but like I said, if you have to argue it, if you're not You're talking about best quarterback in the history of the game.
Statistically.
I shouldn't have to argue you're a current top 5
I
quarterback.
said statistically.
That's because of longevity, though. And
He's
plus
only played 13 years.
Plus with a team in Detroit that you had to pass all the time, and they were always
You're
down.
minimizing him.
I'm not minimizing it. That's just adding context to what he did.
But it's just the truth. You are minimizing him.
Am I minimizing Stafford?
Dan Marino played with a lot of bad teams. Dan Marino had to backpack offensively. Are we discrediting Dan Marino for that?
also went to Super Bowl in the second season.
Yeah, and never went back.
Yeah, but he went in the second season.
And never went back.
Yeah, but Miami never
My
surrounded
dad
him with
still,
enough.
he hates Dan Marino for as much as he loves him. He hates Dan Marino because he made him a Dolphin fan and he never went back.
Tough. That's tough.
Okay. So Stafford has those numbers, right?
For sure.
But that doesn't mean he's a top 10 quarterback of all time.
I'm not saying he's top 10 all time.
I know. That's why those numbers to me are devoid of context.
I just don't want you to get what I'm saying misconstrued.
Well, you talk about one of the
So
greatest.
what are you saying?
Statistically,
what are you saying?
I'm saying that Matthew Stafford's a Hall of Famer because of the career that he's put forth, the fact that he does have a Super Bowl MVP. Excuse me, I keep saying MVP. I apologize. A Super Bowl.
He didn't even win MVP in the Super Bowl.
Eli
got
great.
2 of those
He
things.
was great in the Super Bowl.
Eli
regardless.
got 2 of those things, though.
Eli's great. He's a Hall of Famer for sure.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the thing. I think you're.
But even Eli Manning to me is like, that's a debate of whether or not he's in the Hall of Fame.
I can't disagree with that
career,
more though.
His career as a quarterback, he was an average quarterback.
Towards the back end of things.
What do you mean? Eli Manning was
towards the back end of his career is what I said.
He wasn't a top 10 quarterback, bro.
But
Towards the
Eli's
back end of
runs
his
was
career.
nasty.
Phillip Rivers, his runs were nasty, but Phillip Rivers was a better quarterback than Eli. Eli just had better stretches where it mattered most. There's no doubt about it. And he beat Tom Brady twice. That matters a lot.
Undefeated
That's
team also.
why he's in the Hall of Fame. But to put Stafford in the Hall of Fame after this one Super Bowl run is crazy.
He's 34 years old. He's number 12 all time in touchdowns. Has a Super Bowl. Was impressive.
Name me top 15 guys in touchdowns.
All right, done.
Go for 15 down.
Brady, 624. Drew Brees, 571. Peyton Manning, 539. Brett Favre, 508. Aaron Rodgers, 449. Phillip Rivers, 421.
You said Rivers is a Hall of Famer.
Yes.
Phillip Rivers is a Hall of Famer.
Yes.
Who's more of a Hall of Famer, Phillip Rivers or Matthew Stafford?
Phillip Rivers.
Keep going.
Dan Marino, 420. Lit. Ben Roethlisberger, Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Ryan. I'm giving you the fact he's a Hall of Famer. I'm saying that.
Who's more of a Hall of Famer, Matt Ryan or Matthew Stafford? I don't know why this is a debate.
Pick.
That's tough. That's tough.
I don't know why it's so hard to think about.
It's tough.
We're talking about a guy who's been all pro, way more Pro Bowls, and an MVP of the league.
So you value
enough with the Pro Bowls.
So you value the accolades over the Super Bowl ring in football,
even though his run was all world. Like he was great.
Stafford.
Yeah.
Matt Ryan in 2016 when they choked against
really
the Patriots.
good.
Matt Ryan's run was better than Stafford's. Matt Ryan's numbers were he threw 0 interceptions in that run.
He was great.
He threw 0.
3 comeback wins.
If it's not
he was clutch.
If it's not for Wes Welker, I'm sorry.
I understand.
If it's not for Julian Edelman catching a ball that should have hit
how many
the
moments
ground.
happened in that game? You're gonna nitpick that one?
Yeah, but that moment was Tom Brady.
If he didn't fumble the ball and when he got sacked, maybe
that moment. Brady directly threw to a linebacker.
How about him getting sacked?
Not only did the Falcon linebacker didn't catch the interception, Julian Edelman hurtled over and barely caught the ball. Like, come on. There was a lot of stuff involved in that game.
How about him getting sacked?
But so why are you discrediting Matt Ryan for stuff that he can't control,
Why are you doing this to me? Why are you trying to put words in my mouth?
Matt Ryan's run in 2016 was better. Although he didn't win, statistically he was better.
But like statistically fine. But you just told me the statistics really don't matter. It's about context. Here's the context. 3 comeback drives. Game-winning drives.
Here's the context.
The context?
Here's the context. 3 game-winning drives.
I don't know why you use that in this what I'm saying.
Because you're saying that statistically he was better, right? If that's true, fine. I'll level with you. He was great.
Yeah.
Statistically, he was amazing. Matt Ryan was awesome. When it mattered the most, Stafford came up and won the big game. Matt Ryan couldn't do that.
He didn't have the ball at the end.
What do you mean, bro? He had so many chances. He was up 28-3. That's it. didn't have the chance. He had so many.
Wait,
he had like 4 chances to score once.
Wait, hold up. So Stafford.
There's a minute left in the third quarter. They were up 28-3.
Stafford led that drive, right? After he led that drive to the touchdown of Cooper Kupp, who had to go back on the field? The Bengals, right?
Okay.
The Bengals had an opportunity to go back on the field and make a drive, right?
Okay.
And go secure a drive.
There was one. I think they had 4 plays.
They had a little bit more, but Joe Burrow had that chance. The Bengals had that chance. Who's the one that sacked Burrow to now turn over the ball on downs?
Aaron Donald.
Aaron Donald. So
I said Aaron Donald should have been Super Bowl MVP.
Okay, so it was Aaron Donald, the one who actually sealed the game, not Stafford.
Come on,
Aaron Donald
bro.
sealed the game.
Why are you doing this?
What do you mean why I'm doing it? He
You
sealed the game.
keep minimizing.
I'm not minimizing. I'm just saying Matt Ryan's a more worthy Hall of Famer than Matthew Stafford.
But you're saying that like it's so concrete, so sound.
It is.
It's a thought. Like I sat here and I pondered the question. I haven't even answered. You're saying it like it's firm fact. Like Matthew Stafford hasn't had a whole career of being a dog.
The way you're answering right now tells me your answer.
How old's Matt Ryan right now? 37? I'm asking.
37, yeah.
His best years are behind him, respectfully.
Okay.
Matthew Stafford's 34 years old, is marginally behind Matt Ryan at this point in time. When it's all said and done, Matthew Stafford's going to have the better numbers, and he'll have the Super Bowl over him. I'll give you the MVP season. He was fantastic. He was great. But it wasn't until week 16 that he finally really launched himself into that MVP conversation.
You know, Matt Ryan, 2 years later, had a similar season.
He was great.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you're wrong.
With no Kyle Shanahan.
I'm not saying you're
wrong.
wrong.
With the offense completely collapsed.
He had a whole career in Detroit. He's made the playoffs, what, twice, 3 times? The team did not have a lot of success, but in year 1, he goes to the Rams and wins a Super Bowl. Yes, I agree with you. There could have been quarterbacks put in that situation to win. Yes, but at the same time, look at the way he did it. That's why it's impressive. I understand what you're saying, and I agree. But at the same time, we can't minimize the fact that he had 3 game-winning drives. And
so who's more of a Hall of Famer, Matt Ryan or Stafford?
I think when it's all said and done, Matthew Stafford.
Right now.
Damn it. That's a tough question. It really is.
Just say Stafford. That's who you want to say.
I just think
I don't know why you're dragging it.
He knows he can't say Stafford because it's not the right answer.
That's not necessarily true. It's just that
so
Matthew Stafford's 34 years old. He's,
So
I'm going to go
Ryan.
Matthew Stafford, honestly.
All right, well, there it is.
Okay, you could have said that 5 minutes ago.
No, but it's a thought process because
So
Matt Ryan
keep going.
really is really good.
So keep going.
There's the quarterbacks?
Yeah.
Matt Ryan, 367. Eli Manning, 366. Frank Tarkenton, 342. And Matthew Stafford, 323.
You said Stafford's 9th or 10th.
He's 12th.
12th. Tell me 13, 14, 15.
John Elway, Carson Palmer, and Russell Wilson, who is a Hall of Famer.
Carson Palmer's not a Hall of Famer.
No.
Yeah. I'm saying like
he's up there?
a lot of those quarterbacks that are going to get those passing touchdowns, passing yard stats, they're not going to be Hall of Famers, bro. And even though you think
Is Russ a Hall of Famer?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so every quarterback we listed here outside of Carson
But
Palmer.
Russ is an all-pro, Pro Bowler, and Super Bowl champion.
Again,
there's a difference.
Enough with the Pro Bowl. I'm with all pros. I'm with the Super Bowl champs. Enough with the Pro Bowls, please.
Okay, so you
Thank
want me
you.
to just mention all pros?
Yeah.
Stafford has 0.
I agree. But there's been seasons where he was of that level. It's just unfortunate that they gave it to other guys.
And in those seasons when you're of that level, you usually make a Pro Bowl.
He threw for 5,000 yards, and that was the first season ever
Like,
that 3
I
quarterbacks
understand-
threw for 5K.
I understand you invalidating the Pro Bowl, and it's definitely not a measurement of accolades.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But to act like it means absolutely nothing is also ridiculous. Because
True or false, he should have made the Pro Bowl this year.
He should have. Yeah, he should have. There's no doubt.
Kyler Murray
There-
made it. He played half a season.
there-
That's
there are-
exaggerating,
there are
obviously, but come on.
Players that have the Hall of Fame resume have the All Pros. They have the Pro Bowls. They have the other awards. We're talking about Stafford, who he doesn't have Offensive Rookie of the Year. He doesn't have Offensive Player of the Year. He doesn't have MVP. He doesn't have an All Pro. He has 1 Pro Bowl,
The years that he popped,
and he doesn't even have a Super Bowl MVP.
the years that he popped, other guys popped too. That's not on him. He was still great. You can't hold that against him. Like, was Phillip Rivers ever a top 3 quarterback in the league?
No, but he was definitely higher than Stafford when they were playing it consistently.
But Staffy's been super consistent.
No, I know, but not super consistent. Not super consistent. There have been years where he's been with guys like Joe Lombardi. He was with Joe Lombardi for 2 seasons where he didn't have good seasons.
Hear me out. And not that statistics are everything, but from the years that he was finally healthy, his 3rd year in the league, he was finally healthy, 5,041 touchdowns. 4,967. Basically 5,000 the year after. 20 touchdowns. 17 picks. I can't leave that out. 46.50, 29 touchdowns. 42.57. 42.62. 43.27. 44.46. His worst season with the Lions statistically back-to-back, 3,700, 3,400. His last season with the Lions, he threw for 4,000. That team was not that great.
Okay, yes.
I'm just saying that's consistency to a T.
You're throwing me to passing yards. Like, yes, he consistently led the NFL in most passing attempts in the league. Like, that's gonna happen. But you look at from 2012 from 2012 to 2014. He completed under 60% of his passes in 2 of those seasons. He completed 60%, barely 60%. He threw 20 touchdowns, 17 picks. Is that good? He had an 80 passer rating. That's not very good.
No.
29 touchdowns, 19 picks, 84 passer rating. Is that very good? It's not very good, bro. Then the next year in 2014, 22 touchdowns, 12 picks, 85 passer rating. Is that elite? Is that top 10?
That's not, still good.
That's not top 10, bro.
That's still good. That's like a Kirk Cousins average season.
No, it's not.
I'm exaggerating,
Kirk
but let's
Cousins
be real.
in Minnesota every year has been better than all those numbers, bro.
Okay,
every
and then
year.
all right, look at every year after that.
Yes, he turned up 2015, they made the playoffs, 32 touchdowns, 13 picks, 97 passer rating. The year after that, 24-10. That's good. That's not elite though. That's not elite. That's not exceptional.
For the Lions though, that had minimal. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Bro,
Megatron was gone by then.
And he still had 2 good receivers in Marvin Jones and Golden Tate. Those aren't scrubs, especially at that time. They were a good receiving duo.
But then at the same time, Matthew Stafford is great. Yes, those guys are really good.
Like what you're acting like Stafford every year is putting up godly numbers. He's not.
So, I mean, these are really good stats. The interceptions suck for sure, but that's what he has to do.
The passing yards are high.
Yeah.
The volume of passing that the Lions consistently had year
Which
in
is
year out.
why he has a
was one
lot of
the highest in the
interceptions also.
Okay, that's a fair point, but he also doesn't have as many touchdowns as these other top quarterbacks. What I'm saying is that
he's top 12. What are we talking about all time?
What I'm saying is that I'm not putting a guy just because you're talking about he has top 10 statistics of all time. That does not matter to me because he's not one of the
Super Bowl.
He's not one of the better quarterbacks of all time.
He had a great run also.
He's not.
Statistically, he is.
Right now, which
is what I said.
Right now, he's a lock as a top 10 quarterback. That there's no doubt about it.
Immovable.
There's no doubt about it. But in previous years, that was not the case.
Because he was on the Lions.
So to act like he was the model of consistency and he was this guy that was always elite, it's just not true.
Always elite. I agree with that. You're right.
He's always a player has a skill to have capable elite seasons.
Consistency.
Under the right offensive system. Under the right offensive system.
What? Come on, that's kind of rude. Under the right system, that's kind of BS.
It's not BS.
Like his last year with the Lions, you can't say that was a good offensive system. You can't say that.
His last year with the Lions, he was 26-10.
Exactly. That's him being him.
That's not elite though.
Dude, 4,000 yards with that team.
Carson Wentz just threw 26-6.
27-7.
27-7.
Yeah.
Okay, so even better efficiency wise than Stafford. Was Carson Wentz elite this past year?
But he wasn't good. There's a difference in eye. You can tell what's going on.
Okay, but do you think Carson Wentz was great?
No.
Was he elite?
No.
Was he good?
You could debate it.
Okay, so the numbers definitely do lie. Just like that year in Detroit, under Matt Patricia, I can't even count how many.
But
times.
How about this past season?
This past season, he was great. He also led the league in interceptions, tied with Trevor Lawrence.
Who cares?
What do you mean? So we're just going to disregard that?
Won the Super Bowl and came back from 3 games.
We're just going to disregard that?
Face.
We're just going to disregard that?
Bro, it's the truth. He had 3 game-winning drives in the playoffs. Who cares? Who really cares? The best quarterbacks led the league in interceptions this year. Your boy Joe Burrow, you have top 5. He was among the league leaders in interceptions.
Joe Burrow is better than Stafford, though.
That's your opinion.
And Joe Burrow in the second, he was still hurt to begin the season.
He was great last season. Yes.
No. Joe Burrow in the first half.
I know.
He was
still coming back from his ACL.
Was not even who he became in the second half.
I know. I agree.
In the second half, he was a demon.
I agree.
Matthew
Stafford was a demon the whole season.
Matthew Stafford is. I'm not arguing the fact that he's a great quarterback, but just those longevity numbers are misleading.
I mean, he's only been in the league for 13 seasons.
That's a long time, bro.
Because he's really good. He just won a Super Bowl.
look, the argument is not if he's really good. It's just that
but
those longevity numbers are misleading
I'm just
because
dumbing it down because it's just I'm tired of saying the same thing. He's a Hall of Famer. Lock it. Simple.
So Matthew Stafford's a locked-in Hall of Famer at this point in time.
Yes.
A locked-in Hall of Famer.
Yes.
That's just crazy. According to your criteria or the NFL's criteria?
To me, he's a Hall of Famer. I don't care what anyone else thinks.
The NFL criteria is definitely like different though.
So be it. I don't care.
The NFL Hall of Fame is one of the most difficult to make It's
MLB
the most
by
difficult.
far. MLB by far.
I don't know baseball, so I don't really care
I'm just
about
letting
baseball.
you know.
But NFL,
Here we
but
go. Don't get
NFL,
rude.
if we're comparing it to the NBA, the NFL is super hard to make the Hall of
The
Fame.
NBA, I mean, listen.
So if
it's
we're
a
going
basketball
by those standards, then no, Stafford's not a Hall of Famer.
He is.
And I'm not giving the Hall of Fame.
So Matt Ryan, not a Hall of Famer.
Matt Ryan to me is a borderline one.
Oh my God.
He is.
All right.
He is.
All right.
Like
We'll leave it at that.
The only current quarterbacks that are playing right now that I think are locked in Hall of Famers are Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers. Let me just get the list because I don't want to miss it.
That's all right. I'm just going to help you out. Russell Wilson. We're just going quarterbacks, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
You can't say Patrick Mahomes is a Hall of Famer yet.
Wait, hold on. What?
Right now, he
So
retired tomorrow.
you-
He retired tomorrow. He's a Hall of Famer.
Wait.
I'm asking.
Yes. So you're saying Matthew Stafford's a Hall of Famer, but Patrick Mahomes isn't?
That was kind of crazy.
What are you saying?
Patrick Mahomes retires tomorrow. He's
Yes.
a Hall of Famer.
Patrick Mahomes retires tomorrow. He accomplished more than Matthew Stafford his entire career.
That was nutty.
What are we talking about?
That was nutty.
What are we talking
He
about?
retires tomorrow. He's a Hall of Famer.
If Patrick Mahomes retires tomorrow, he's accomplished more than Matthew Stafford
I
has
don't
in his entire
disagree.
career.
I don't
So if you
disagree.
think Stafford's a Hall of Famer, Mahomes
has
is a
the
locked in.
statistics.
If you think Stafford's a Hall of Famer, Mahomes is a locked in Hall of Famer right now.
If you
what are
want,
you talking
if you want to
about?
get active
so
like this,
you
we
want
could
to
do
debate?
this. Donnie Baseball, right? You don't care about the Baseball Hall of Fame, but Donnie Baseball was the best player in the major leagues for years. I'm talking years, 10 years. It did not matter because he didn't have the longevity. He was not a Hall of Famer because he didn't have the longevity. He accomplished a ton, but it did not matter because he didn't have the longevity. Watch your tone. You can get animated, I'm fine. But let's just look at this. Let's be simple with it. Mahomes doesn't have the longevity. He's accomplished a ton in a short amount of time, no doubt.
Good. Nice. Riv. I want you to answer these questions, okay? Who has the MVP, Patrick Mahomes or Matthew Stafford?
Mahomes.
Okay, does Stafford have one? No, he doesn't. Who has more All-Pros? Mahomes or Stafford? Mahomes. Who has more Pro Bowls? Mahomes or Stafford?
Enough with the Pro Bowls.
Who's been to the Super Bowl more times, Mahomes or Stafford?
And they have the same amount of Super Bowls.
Who has a Super Bowl MVP, Mahomes or Stafford?
Mahomes is a Hall of
Oh
Famer.
yeah, Stafford
Damian
doesn't.
Williams low-key should have won that.
Mahomes is a Hall of
Patrick
Famer.
Mahomes has by far a better resume than Matthew Stafford right
disagree.
now. I don't care about those longevity numbers.
Okay,
because
that's your
Mahomes
prerogative.
has accomplished more in
That's your
significantly
prerogative.
less
I don't
time
disagree.
than Matthew
I'm
Stafford.
not disagreeing.
So if you think Stafford's a Hall of Famer, Mahomes is a locked-in Hall of
So
Famer.
Mahomes dies
tomorrow.
Mahomes dies suddenly. God forbid he dies tomorrow. Hall of Famer.
Yes, there's no doubt.
Okay. 5
There's
years.
no
How
doubt.
many years did he play? 4.
He's played more than that. He's played
5 or
Four.
6,
He's
I
played.
think.
No. He's played 4
Oh
seasons.
no, he's been in the league like
played
5,
4
6.
seasons.
Now he's a Hall of Famer, bro.
4 seasons Hall of Fame. All right.
He done more than a lot of.
If you
QBs.
guys believe that, firmly believe that, that's fine with me.
These are the quarterbacks I currently believe are Hall of Famers if they
Go
were
ahead.
to retire today.
Go ahead.
Tom Brady,
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes,
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers,
Russell
Wilson, Matt Ryan, and
All right. So Matthew Stafford.
that's it to me.
So Matt Ryan's in,
Matt Ryan is borderline for me.
but you just said he's in.
He's in, but he's borderline.
So then put Matthew Stafford borderline.
no,
fair.
Stafford has to accomplish a little bit more.
You're just ridiculous.
Accolades-wise, he has to accomplish a
Because
little
I
bit
level
more.
with you. That's what's annoying about this. I feel like what you're saying, I hear you, and I level. You don't level. That's why it gets
It's
annoying.
not. You just told me that Mahomes is not a Hall of Famer.
If he died tomorrow, no,
Yes,
he's not.
he is.
Okay,
forbid.
that's
And-
God
and-
forbid. Absolutely,
And
God
just,
forbid.
it
No
just
one
say
needs that.
retired tomorrow.
I know. I'm just
Yes,
using
he is.
hyperbole.
Because who accomplished more? Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL. He's been the best for 4 seasons. Stafford will never accomplish that.
He wasn't the best this past season.
Yeah, I guess you can argue statistically, but I think
So
if
3 seasons
if
of being unbelievable.
If you legitimately ask every GM in football, if you were to make a poll after 2018, what quarterback do you want to build your
4
franchise
years
around?
ago?
Yeah. Like
To
no,
just go back, you want to really
no, I'm
hype
saying
him up,
I'm
talk
saying,
last season.
No, I'm saying from every season. So every year you poll 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, who do you want to start your franchise with at the quarterback
So
position?
not this past
It's
season.
Mahomes.
So not going into this season. You're not getting 100% Mahomes, correct?
I think you're getting 80% Mahomes.
Really?
Yeah, I think you are. And I think Mahomes is going to show you this.
Even-
And
I'm
I
not-
think Mahomes is going to show you this upcoming season what he
Here we
does with
go.
Juju
Like,
Smith-Schuster.
This is what's crazy to me. It all of a sudden comes to me thinking Mahomes is not great, right? That's what it comes to.
I do think he's
I mean,
a Hall of Famer,
you've
though.
definitely shit on Mahomes a lot.
I guess because I don't like him, but that can't take away from the fact that I still acknowledge the fact that what he's done is unprecedented. If he keeps it up, if he stays in the league, God willing, the league needs Patrick Mahomes. It's better with Patrick Mahomes. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He will get in 100% votes. But you're telling me he retires tomorrow. It's going to be – he's not first ballot. Is he first ballot if he retires tomorrow?
Yeah.
Here we go. Like, that's
is.
outrageous. But
He is.
Matthew Stafford's borderline. You're losing me.
So what, Matthew Stafford's first ballot if he retires?
At this point, Mahomes is just racking.
Yes.
He's already first ballot. Mahomes is just racking shit up at this point. He's already first ballot. Everything else.
First
after
ballot.
You just heard what he said. He said Stafford is first ballot if he retires tomorrow, but not Mahomes.
It's
He has
13 years. He's top 12, top 10, top 10.
So wait, who are the quarterbacks that are first ballot right now? Tom Brady.
Tom Brady, Rodgers, Russ.
Russ
and,
don't got
and-
an MVP.
But that doesn't
Mahomes
matter.
got
He
one.
has a Super Bowl. He has a Super
Mahomes
Bowl.
got one.
No, I don't. I'm not saying you're wrong.
What he's
but
done
he
in
also has the
4
All
Mahomes
Pro.
has accomplished more than Russell Wilson too.
I'm not gonna say
I'm not
that,
saying that-
but what
listen,
he's done in
that's-
4 years,
yes,
a lot of
amazing.
QBs haven't done.
If we're
I'm
going
not
in-
saying you're wrong. That's the thing that we're getting it twisted. I'm not saying you're wrong.
I know you're not. I'm saying
agreeing.
first ballot.
You're right.
He might
What
get
Mahomes done, we've seen from no one.
They
No one.
They will put him in if he retired like
That's
tomorrow.
what I
they'd put
find
him
it hard to think that.
Nah, they
But
put him
fair, if you think that, I'm not going to shit on what you think. I personally just think you need the longevity. Donnie Baseball, I already had that analogy. It's just the truth. Longevity matters.
No, it
It
does.
really does. I
I'm
feel where
actually-
you're coming from.
I'm actually curious to know if this player,
Who, Donnie?
no,
Oh.
if Bo Jackson's in the Hall of Fame.
He's not.
He's not in the Hall of Fame, but he
That-
would
right?
he would be a similar comparison.
Exactly. I
But
agree with
no,
what you're saying.
It's actually different. No.
Bo
It's- no,
Jackson
hold on.
was the best
no.
running back in
No,
the
no,
game.
No.
And because he got hurt, his career got cut short. He's not a baseball Hall of Famer. He's not a football Hall of Famer. If he was, he's basically the old school Patrick Mahomes because when he came to the league, he was dominant at the running back position. Let's get that straight.
How many 1,000-yard seasons did Bo Jackson have?
How many years did he play?
He played 4.
Maybe one.
He had none. He was never the best running back in the league in the NFL. He wasn't.
He was still great. Tell
was
me
a-
his total yards.
He never had a K.
In his rookie year, 554. Second year, 580. Third year, 950. Fourth year, 698.
So he had 1,000
What's
scrimmage.
the fascination with Bo Jackson?
He's
a freak.
super
He's a
athlete.
freak of nature.
Super athlete.
But that's the difference. Bo Jackson was a freak of nature, but he didn't accomplish anything.
I don't disagree.
So that's why I just threw out.
But you were going to
compar-
use that as to defend yourself.
No. I was curious because the folktale of Bo
I'll
Jackson.
let it go. I'll let it
The
go. then.
folktale of
Yeah.
Bo Jackson is that he's a Hall of Famer.
It makes
Yeah.
it seem like his stats
And
is
but
ridiculous.
it's understandable because like we already alluded, he's arguably the best athlete of all time.
okay, that's fair. I
Yeah,
can
but
dig
he
that.
never was a Hall of Famer.
He had 1,000 scrimmage,
yeah, and also
I
he,
mean,
he didn't play full 16 games.
and you're not going to give him that 950. Like how many games did he play that year?
I think 11.
Okay, come on.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying he just never.
The way
had
you just
it.
said none, it was just like.
But I
no.
just don't. But I'm just saying.
I
Like,
understand. I get it.
that's
I get
not
it.
worthy of being the best.
I get
running
it.
back in the
No,
league.
no, fair.
Especially at the time where you had who, like Emmitt Smith in Dallas.
Walter Payton?
Emmett Smith
Was
is
he
like
playing
that's the
Walter
epitome
Payton?
of longevity. Also, like you look at Emmett Smith, you would think statistically he's the best all time, but he's not.
Look up O.J. Simpson. Sorry.
Oh man, listen, for sure, take his off field. Like that's one of those things that you can't ignore. But
Yeah, he had
on the
2K.
field, bro, he was insane.
Yeah, on the field first ballot.
Yeah, we're talking about all the field.
All right, let's
odds,
move
you know.
on.
Yeah.
Tyreek
Yeah.
Hill said that Tua is the most accurate quarterback in the NFL. Do you think he's crazy for saying that Tua is the most accurate quarterback in the NFL?
It comes off very strong, of course, because as soon as you think of Tua Tagovailoa, there's a lot of hate that goes into that conversation for whatever reason. It's honestly, it gets to a point where it's annoying and really rude. But I see what Tyreek Hill's saying because Tua is just one of those guys that he has to run a fast-paced offense where Tom Brady has the best receiving corps in the league. He's number 2 in terms of getting the ball out in a certain amount of time. Number 3 is Tua. And you would think that would play against him in the sense of his completion percentage in terms of I'm blanking very badly. I have the statistic here, but I'm folding. Tua has completed 50% of his passes, more than 20% of yards downfield this season. 52.9% is the second in the league behind Kyler Murray, but he doesn't throw the ball down the field that often. Tua ranks 4th, 4.8 in terms of 36 qualified quarterbacks behind Aaron Rodgers, Joe Burrow, Kyler Murray. The difference is that the offenses that these 4 run are more so deeper down the field, but Tua's are quick reads. Tua breaks this trend where you have these other 3 quarterbacks that are ranked 10th, 11th, and 7th in the NFL in intended air yards per pass attempt, but in terms of given the fact that they throw the ball deep, but Tua ranks 31st. What's insane to me is that Tua really is very more accurate than what they give him credit for. His offensive line is just really bad, and so when he is pressured as often as he is, he has to on the fly make a read and see the receiver and hit him right in the chest, or he's kind of screwed. I understand where he's coming from, but yes, it does come off crazy. It does come off strong because statistically, he's nowhere near that conversation. He does not have the statistics to back up that claim. But in terms of just regular, you look at the box score, it's not nothing eye-popping. But you look at the advanced stats, there's stuff to back it up.
For me, this is just a wide receiver pumping up his new quarterback, which we've seen happen over time in the NFL. It happens a lot. He just wants to put that confidence in his quarterback. And like Drew mentioned, if you look into the advanced stats in terms of the short passes, small things like that, Tua is up there. He's one of the most efficient passers in the small reads, the drag routes, stuff like that. But for me, I can't fully call him one of the most accurate because he doesn't make those deep throws. He doesn't make those off-foot throws, the out-of-pocket throws. He doesn't make those at the right volume as other quarterbacks. So I can't fully call him that, but I understand what Tyreek is talking about. You know, you got to hype up your quarterback. Going from Mahomes to Tua, that's a different level of expectation for sure. Yeah, that puts a different level of like Miami is in the big stage now. This is a team that has to succeed. This is a team that has a lot of expectations. So I understand what he's talking about, but at the same time, it is a little crazy.
Yeah, I get it.
Going from Mahomes to Tua and then saying you just had the most accurate when you have Mahomes, who's one of the best quarterbacks we all at this table has personally seen in our lifetime. I think that's tough, but like I said, this is just something that he's doing to prop up his quarterback.
So I just want to fix what I was saying. The statistic that I was saying that Tua was 4th in was completion percentage over expected. So it takes the average depth of target and it counts the measure of how passes a quarterback should be completed. The fact that he's 4th and he has the least amount of yards, you understand what I'm saying? Like it bodes well with Tua and his claim for being one of the most accurate.
I actually think it's a bit worse because he's 8th in completion percentage, but the reason why they mark him 4th is because he's completing passes that should be completed. I mean, he's making passes that should be completed that aren't completed because he doesn't complete passes that are deep down the field. Behind the line of scrimmage, he attempted 56 passes, completed 50 of them, which he should. It's behind the line of scrimmage. Short passing concepts, 0 to 9 yards, he completed 149 of 189, which is good, 79% completion percentage. But then you look further, he only attempted 98 medium passes, 10 to 19 yards, and only 29 deep passes, 20 plus or more yards. He's not somebody who throws the ball down the field. You can say, oh, the offensive line wasn't good to counter that point. But it benefited his play style somewhat because
that's what you think.
Although he's 8th in completion percentage, he's 26th in yards per attempt. So he isn't completing passes that are even remotely far. He's 5th in on-target percentage, with I think that bodes well for his accuracy. But he's 24th in pressure percentage. Joel the other day used that stat to try to
minimize,
to try to act like the Bengals offensive line was better than it is. I know the Dolphins offensive line is shit. The reason why it's 24th in pressure percentage is because they didn't run concepts last year that really forced Tua to sit back and make reads.
Yeah.
It was one read RPO this. It was behind the line of scrimmage, little bubble screen here. That's all Tua was doing. So he should be 5th in on-target percentage because the passes that he's targeting his receivers with are fairly easy passes to make. He's not making difficult passes. That's why I don't think Tua's a good quarterback. Oop. And I've been, since his rookie season, I've been saying he's Jimmy Garoppolo. And
that's being a good quarterback, though.
That's average. I mean, that's okay. That's being one of the worst starters in the league. I mean, I think Tyreek Hill is putting a target on Tua by hyping him up this much. He's everywhere he's been. Tua's a talking point. Oh, he's the most accurate quarterback in the NFL. The other day, oh man, he's a dog. He's gonna prove people wrong this season. He's putting such a big target on Tua. And now it's up to Tua to live up to this because you have Tyreek Hill, you have Jaylen Waddle, you have Mike Gesicki, you have Cedric Wilson.
Yep.
You got improvements. You have improvements.
Edmonds.
To me, those are just guys.
I say that because they had the third worst rush offense last season.
Yeah.
So definitely you add those guys, you got to improve.
To me, those are just guys, to be honest.
And you add Mike McDaniels, that's a run guy. That definitely bodes well.
Raheem Mostert can't stay healthy.
To say he's a guy is rude.
Chase Edmonds is average.
So
because of that,
well.
I just really
I like that
Tua
too.
has to show
too.
out. And the thing about it is that I know I'm going to sound pretty rude when I say this.
Here we go.
But even if Tua shows out this upcoming season, I'm not going to care much because
So what allows me to continue to listen to what you're saying, though? Like you just saying that immediately shuts off anything. Like
Because
that's just ignorant, closed-mindedness that just doesn't bode well with anyone.
He is in an offense that's a training wheels offense. It's a Kyle Shanahan offense. That's number one. He is in an offense where
Matt Ryan was his most successful in. Most successful. I didn't say that it wasn't more successful. I'm just saying his most successful was what Kyle Shanahan. But go ahead.
Kyle Shanahan was there for 1 year.
And that was where he had his most success.
Yeah, he had a similar season.
That's what I said.
Very next 2 years.
I literally just said exactly what you just said.
Okay. But the difference is that Matt Ryan's actually elite. He's actually a great quarterback. That's the difference.
Sure.
Tua is what he is.
Why are you shitting on Tua, man?
I mean,
We know why.
It's just a fact.
We know why.
It's
He
not-
just has to continue,
It's
which I
not
get
that.
it.
It's not that we know why. It's just that if you watch the film and you actually watch what Tua's done, there's really nothing to be excited about.
Listen, third time's a charm. I finally understand what I'm trying to say, and I can finally formulate it into complete sentences. Why this stat specifically, completion percentage over expected, is so firm is because you would expect that he would be lower on this list because he's throwing the short passes, right? They're easy passes. But the fact that he's still fourth on this list with guys that throw deep down the field, Aaron Rodgers, Joe Burrow, Kyler Murray, the fact that he's still fourth on completion percentage over expected is still bodes well with his accuracy. Even though they're short passes, which I agree with, fair. That's what the offense called for because of his offensive line.
Easiest passes in the league.
No doubt. But at the same time, you still have to respect this stat. Completion percentage over expected, where it takes not only the account of the average depth of target, but also the tightness of windows that he had to fit it in.
Okay. Tua's an accurate quarterback.
That's all the question was, though.
And I never said once that Tua's not accurate. I think he's an accurate
But
quarterback.
that's all the question was.
Yeah, the question was, is it crazy for him to say the most accurate? It is crazy for him to say the most accurate. And, the bottom line is that Tua's not a good quarterback. That's really what it's going to be.
But what does that have to do with accuracy?
Because I think that his accuracy numbers were a bit inflated just because he completed such easy passes.
But here again, I mean, this is the only stat that I really need to continue to go back to because I agree with you. The average at the target looks bad, but then you pair it with the fact that his completion percentage over what was expected or should be expected and the fact that he can fit these balls in these tight windows, it bodes well with the fact that he is still amongst one of the most accurate.
Well,
now that they have a little bit more time, we'll see what happens.
What I was getting to is that Tua is somebody who's in an offense that is a training wheels offense, West Coast system. He's playing with superstar players and Tyreek Hill.
No doubt.
And Jaylen Waddle
is a superstar in the making.
Okay, yeah.
He's coming.
That's fair. Mike Gesicki, top 10 tight end.
Tough.
I think he's a top 15
Mike is
tight end.
tough.
Fringe, yeah.
He's definitely, if we're talking about just strictly receiving, he's
great.
literally
Yeah.
a top 10 receiving tight end.
Mm-hmm.
So Tua has no excuses.
I don't disagree.
And if he can have a statistically good season, right? Do I expect it's going to be groundbreaking? No. He's going to be okay. He's going to manage things. But when you ask Tua to go above and beyond, when you ask Tua to win that week 17 game in the rain against Tennessee Titans, he won't do it.
You really pissed me off.
He won't do it.
Literally 2 back-to-back seasons of playing the number 1 seed. Like, come on.
Year 3 for him.
The team that you said with Joe was mid with the Titans.
Ooh.
You
I
said-
didn't say he was made.
I know, I'm playing.
Come on.
I'm playing.
That was literally one of the 3 times ever in Pigside history that me and Joel agreed.
Tough.
So I know he was lying, bastard.
No, but yeah, it is what
Year
it is,
3
man.
Tua.
The Dolph year.
I'm in. I'm
I
all
like
in.
Miami. Nice little squad.
We need someone else because this guy right here who sits here when we do football Thankfully, we'll all be a part of this show all together.
I like Miami.
I like this.
Miami's nice.
I need this.
Nice weather, no taxes. Tyreek Hill, you know.
Jaylen Waddle.
I like Jaylen Waddle. You know what I'm saying? Howard. I'm a Howard fan. I'm
Xavier's
digging
one of the
Miami.
best.
The jerseys are beautiful.
One of the best in the league.
Nice. You know, the
Beautiful women.
parties, the women, the beach, the hotels.
Mike McDaniel's cool.
The crackheads.
Wade
Oh
County.
my God, that's come on.
Wade County's down
Facts.
there.
That's facts.
Can you
Listen,
not love my-
the city of Miami would love to have you.
Can
They
you
would
not
love
love
to have
Miami,
you.
yo?
You part of FinFam?
Maybe.
Tough.
You know
All
what I'm saying?
right, let's
I like
go.
the environment. I might join the FinFan.
Tough.
We'll see how September
Listen, bro,
looks.
you're in. If you want to be in, you're in.
We'll see how September looks. You know, like
We're gonna talk about Lamar Jackson because he's somebody that every offseason there's a new story about him, whether or not he should get paid. Somebody saying about him anonymously, and this time an anonymous quote by NFL defense coordinator said, "If he has to pass to win the game, they ain't winning the game." The anonymous coach said, "He's so unique as an athlete, and he's a really good football player. But I don't give a shit if he wins the league MVP 12 times. I don't think he'll ever be one as a quarterback. He'll be one as a football player, but not as a quarterback."
that's hilarious. That's a
Now,
different
Drew,
level of hate.
earlier in this show, when we're talking about Stafford, you mentioned Lamar, and you threw in a little thing about him passing.
Yeah.
Is he going to win you a game with passing like the way Stafford did in those 3-game winning drives and stuff? So I'm curious to hear what you have to say about a defense coordinator saying that if he has to pass to win the game, it's not going to happen.
I do hate that I basically reiterated what this guy said because the way that he's coming across is extremely disrespectful, extremely rude. I can still feel the way I feel about Lamar Jackson by still acknowledging the fact that he's still a fringe top 10 quarterback. He's still a league MVP, and that's still something that you can't just look over. You can't just gloss over it. He's still the best mobile quarterback we will ever see. I'm pretty confident in saying that. But when it comes to passing the football, he showed strides this season, but even still, his interception rate was way too high for my liking. And it just comes to moments where you need Lamar to be the best passer in that game, in that moment. And sometimes he comes up a little bit short. We saw it last season where with his arm, he won some games against the Colts. That was an amazing performance by Lamar Jackson. He showed really good strides last season with his arm, no doubt. But we need to see it on a consistent basis. Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson are on two different planes, but I say
Same weaknesses.
exactly what I mean. You look at Jalen Hurts, you understand that he is a great mobile quarterback, but he limits you because of his arm. You have similar feeling with Lamar that he's an even better rusher than Jalen Hurts, but his arm, you still have to see it on a consistent basis to be firmly in. I do believe that we will see Lamar Jackson get to that point where he is a consistent passer. He is a passer that you can trust. We just need to see it first, though. I do believe he has the capabilities to do so. I don't love the disrespect.
Yeah.
I think that it's just up to Lamar to shut him up, and I think that he will.
Yeah, that comment was real haterish. But I want to put up this fake graphic, this little demographic.
Right here, John. Figure
this,
it out. Right there.
Right here. So we're going to go Kyler Murray right here. Then in the middle, we're going to go Josh Allen. Then we're going to go Lamar Jackson. Do I think he's limited? Yes, of course. You know, he has his problems accuracy-wise. He has his problem throwing the ball downfield. You look at all these three quarterbacks. The reason why people are higher on Kyler Murray and Josh Allen because of their ability to not only dominate a game with their running ability, but with their accuracy and throwing the ball. Josh Allen, he's just a different type of
Talking
monster.
facts.
Kyler Murray, he's getting there. You know, he's one of those guys that can throw the ball with the best of them. He has a deep arm. He has the accuracy. Lamar Jackson, I think the system also kind of puts people in a, you know, they were a big red zone team, and they're a team that is heavily on the run game. So I think the system kind of, I don't want to say limits him, but it puts it where he can't show his ability passing the ball all too well.
Yeah.
But he does has his troubles. I think the limits are going to be broken because he has that type of potential. I don't think he'll just be a football player. I think he can be a great thrower because he has the ability to throw the ball very far. He has shown strides in being an accurate quarterback. It is going to take some time, but I don't know if we're going to see it this year because his wide receiver room isn't the best in the world. You know, he lost Marquise Brown, but Marquise Brown wasn't the best. You know what I'm saying? So he
showed out last year.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough, but he still got Mark Andrews, so that's sight to see.
And Rashad Bateman, people are very high on, which is understandable.
High, but I got to see to believe type.
He was
of dude.
pretty good last season.
Yeah, he was all right, but I think the limits are there. But I think he'll be able to break those. But if you stack him up with the dual threats in the league, even if we go further, Deshaun Watson can throw the ball, can run the ball. You know, it's like Russell Wilson can throw the ball, can run the ball.
If you're throwing Russ, you got to throw Mahomes.
Mahomes can throw the ball at a ridiculous rate, can run the ball. He's one of the, like, you throw all the dual threats, they all have the ability to make those plays with their feet and their arm. Lamar, not all too well, but I think he'll be able to eventually get there. He has the potential.
You know,
Joel's going to be proud of you. I believe that.
This is funny that you guys are mentioning this because I hate to call you guys out on it, but I'm going to do it.
Talk to us.
You guys are contributing to a lot of the false narratives that surround Lamar Jackson.
I gave him his praise this past season.
I think I did too.
In terms of just him not being this passer, the narrative that Lamar Jackson isn't this great to elite level passer is wrong. It's not right.
No, I'm Lamar.
It's not backed by any statistical evidence. Lamar Jackson this past season was number 1 in yards per attempt. Outside the numbers, by the way, they're difficult throws.
No doubt. He was really good.
Number 1 in yards per attempt, success rate, and EPA per attempt. Outside the numbers. He averaged 9.4 yards per attempt, 5th highest. 9.4 air yards per attempt, 5th highest, while being blitzed on 32% of his attempts, which was the 5th highest in the league. So he's getting blitzed, the 5th highest, and he's completing passes. He's completing far passes at a ridiculously high rate. He's the first player in NFL history to throw for 3,000 yards and rush for 1,000. You can argue he had one of the best seasons in NFL history in his MVP year.
Regular season.
His efficiency was off the charts. Then you look at the Ravens when Lamar went down with an ankle injury. They went 0-5. They won 0 games. Lamar had them at 8-3, first in the AFC North, while being the most injured team in the NFL.
He was great.
Lamar Jackson has 84 total touchdowns in his 37 starts. That ranks number 3 all time, behind only Mahomes and Dan Marino, and his 67 passing touchdowns is 11th most, tied with Aaron Rodgers. That's ahead of Peyton Manning. That's ahead of Tom Brady. That's ahead of Russell Wilson. That's ahead of Phillip Rivers. And mostly every other great quarterback that you can name in NFL history. The biggest knock they throw on Lamar Jackson is that when he's trailing, he can't win you a game. With 5 minutes left and trailing in the 4th, Lamar's thrown for 574 yards, completed 64% of his passes.
How many games?
Has 5 touchdowns to 1 pick and a 112 passer rating. That's all the games that he was trailing this past season, 2021 season.
Okay.
And with that being said, the Ravens have done very little to surround Lamar Jackson when we talk about offensive weapons and even offensive linemen, because Lamar came into a great offensive line, but since Marshall Yanda's retired, they really haven't done much to try and rebuild that offensive line. Their spending at offensive line since Lamar's been in the league has been number 28 in the NFL, number 27 in the NFL, number 31 in the NFL, and number 23 in the NFL. Their spending at wide receiver has been number 25 in the NFL, number 27 in the NFL, number 28 in the NFL, and number 22 in the NFL.
That's bad.
Before Lamar Jackson, John Harbaugh was a 500 coach about to get fired.
Right.
Lamar Jackson takes the mantle, and since then, in his starts, they've been 37-12. Lamar is capable, but the Ravens are holding him back because they are not surrounding him with the right supporting play, the right supporting cast for him to get over the hump. Now, Lamar Jackson, people talk about him as a passer all you want. You can talk about it all you want, but he is a great to elite level passer. And when you couple in his rushing ability, when we talk about the young quarterbacks in the NFL, him and Kyler Murray is not a debate. It's Lamar Jackson. Him and Deshaun Watson, I'm taking Lamar Jackson over Deshaun Watson. What? Lamar Jackson at his very best is better than all those guys. It's really not a debate. Lamar Jackson at his very best is a top 8 quarterback a minimum in the NFL.
Just
level with me. Just level with me real quick.
Just because you speak confidently into a microphone does not mean that's right.
Can I ask you a question, Joel? Maybe, I'm the new guy on the block, so maybe you can.
I'd love to hear this.
You can level with me with these numbers that I just found. I'm just going to read it so you don't think I made them up, okay? Lamar Jackson this is 2021. Lamar Jackson completed just 33.3% of his 20-plus yard throws at 11.5 yards per attempt. He was dead last in accuracy rate as only 22.6% of his deep balls were thrown accurately. PFF used 8 different deep passing metrics to rank each quarterback, which included passing yards, yards per attempt, turnover-worthy play rate, and accuracy percentage. And by those metrics, Jackson placed near the bottom of the league. He was ranked between Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson at 28th.
What's your question?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought the question was
pretty self-explanatory.
Pretty obvious,
correct.
But I guess I have to ask it. We said he made strides in his accuracy. You said the notion was this is a myth, but the numbers say it's kind of not really a myth. He just wasn't good. Now, this season wasn't the best season for the Baltimore Ravens. I agree with you. They were hampered with injuries. The team wasn't fit right. I understand that.
And this was in 11 starts he had these statistics.
12 starts.
Yeah,
12 games.
12. Apologize.
Threw 16 touchdowns and he had 13 interceptions, 2,882 yards. So the numbers scream he hasn't been accurate. So my question is it more on his ability or is it, like you said, the team just not putting guys next to him?
It's the players, it's the scheme. Greg Roman runs a run-heavy scheme,
right.
And his scheme is very predictable. He made a few kinks to it he made a few kinks to it, but for the most part, it's a run-heavy scheme. It took advantage of Lamar's strengths. There's no doubt about it. When you talk about those numbers, those inaccuracies, we have to also mention that there was a game this past season against the Detroit Lions where he threw 3 beautiful deep balls to Marquise Brown, and he dropped all of them.
Right.
So his receivers are not reliable, which also hinders his accuracy.
All right.
And really, that's really the biggest thing.
Okay.
He's not Lamar Jackson amongst all these great quarterbacks is the only one that's not playing with a superstar wide receiver.
That's fair.
That's a fact. Kyler Murray's playing with D-Hop. Deshaun is played with D-Hop, and even Brandon Cooks clears anybody Lamar's played with.
Deshaun did have his best season with Brandon Cooks.
You're right, but Brandon Cooks is also a better receiver than Hollywood Brown.
Not saying much though.
I agree though.
Cooks is good.
You look at just
he's really
all
good.
These great quarterbacks. They have either one elite receiver or they have 2 really great ones. Lamar Jackson has not had that. He's had Mark Andrews, who's a great tight end, and I love Mark Andrews, but you don't have an outside threat. And in this scheme, it doesn't take advantage of Lamar's capabilities as a passer.
Can I ask you a question? I'm sorry to interrupt you. Do you believe that Hollywood Brown's going to be better statistically with Kyler Murray?
He might be, but I think that's only because
I do believe that.
He's getting – I think he might be – actually not might. He will be.
He will. I agree.
There are 2 main reasons for that. Number one reason is that the Cardinals are a pass-heavy team.
And Kyler's a better deep ball thrower.
Not even that. They're just a spread air raid team.
Agreed, though.
They're spread out, and it versus in Baltimore, they're asking Hollywood to block a lot. They're in a lot of heavy tight end. They're in a lot of heavy tight end sets.
I agree.
In Arizona, it's going to be Kyler Murray shotgun, empty backfield, 4 receivers on the outside.
Do they have the personnel to do that?
Yeah, they do. I mean, you look at AJ Green. You look at. I mean, even when
Rondell Moore, he's going to get a lot of opportunity.
Even when D-Hop was out, they ran the same offense. They just switched out.
I just say because
Hop with Blake Wesley.
I just think that Connor, and now you have Darrell Williams come
Wesley,
in. I know what you're saying. I just think Connor and Darrell Williams being in that backfield. Like, sure, it's Cliff Kingsbury. He'll probably come up with something 4 wide, no doubt. But I just think that they're going to rely on a lot on Connor.
They got Moore, Brown in the middle, Green, Hopkins when he get back on the outside.
No, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome.
They re-signed Hurts.
They run a spread system, so that's why. And
I understand.
And then number 2, it's just opportunity. D-Hop is out for the first 6 games.
But I say this because Hollywood was the number 1 and
Andrews is the number 1 target.
But it didn't show that when you look at Lamar when he was out and when Mark Andrews' numbers when Lamar was out versus Lamar was in. Mark Andrews was better with Tyler Huntley. His numbers were better with Tyler Huntley.
Different quarterbacks, though.
No doubt, but my point being is he did not maximize Mark Andrews the way that...
Did he not, or did the system not maximize Mark Andrews?
I don't know if that's a really tough question for me to answer.
Honestly, I don't care what the numbers say. Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews has been one of the best quarterback to tight end duos in the NFL in these recent years. So I don't care what those numbers say. Maybe he was better than Huntley. Maybe he wasn't.
He was. I'm telling you.
Mark Andrews is the number one receiving option on the Baltimore Ravens offense. That is without a doubt.
I agree. But we saw Hollywood be better than Mark Andrews when Lamar was in. Statistically.
Hollywood's going to have a better statistical season. But regardless, it's one, because of the targets, and I think it's two, because of the offensive scheme that fits him. There's a reason Hollywood has been wanting to get traded out of Baltimore for 3 years now.
I only say that because he was getting targets in Baltimore.
Yes, but he's not going to get it to the amount that he's going to get in Arizona. Hollywood has wanted to leave Baltimore for the past 3 seasons. He's made it vocal when he left to Arizona. He literally said that I've been wanting to get out of there for a while, but this was finally the final straw, and they traded me, and it was because he was about to, get a bag, and they didn't want to pay him. So that's why they made that move. But that's why things would be statistically better. But Lamar Jackson is a great quarterback.
Absolutely.
I think he's a great passer. And even in his MVP season, when they asked him what he wanted to be, he said, "I want to be Drew Brees level as a passer." And I feel like the system is hindering him.
And another reason why he faces so much scrutiny is because of his playoff statistics. You just give it a quick search. Lamar Jackson, passer rating of 68.3 with 900 yards, 3 touchdowns, 5 INTs in 4 games in his playoff career.
The Titans game.
It's a huge reason why people look at Lamar in that manner. So, again, it's up to Lamar to prove it in the big stage. We know you can do it in the regular season. Like you alluded to earlier, he had one of the best regular seasons we might ever see in our lifetimes. But what it ultimately comes down to is what can you do for me come playoff time? That's really just, until people see that, they will never shut up about Lamar's game. It's just the truth.
Yeah, I understand the playoff argument, but Kyler Murray in his playoff game was worse than anything Lamar put on tape.
Yeah.
Fair.
But they both had some bad games.
Lamar in his playoff loss against Tennessee had 500 total yards.
He was bad.
He went out.
The game against the Bills, he was bad.
Yeah.
No, he was bad against Tennessee too. If you watched the full game, he was bad.
Kyler Murray,
yards.
2 picks.
No, he was bad. He was bad.
150 yards.
He was bad. K1 was shitty. K1 was extremely
He was
shitty.
bad. He was bad.
That's why I'm not high on
But I
Kyler
say
Murray.
his only reason I say that is because Lamar had his. He's not high on Kyler Murray. It's whatever. I just say that Lamar had his full team healthy lineup. Those seasons.
He did, but they did have their deficiencies. Look, I don't give no breaks to Lamar. He should have won those playoff games.
Definitely.
100%.
Against the Titans, inexcusable.
Yeah.
His MVP season, inexcusable.
100%. He should have won those games. But when we talk about him as a passer, he's a good passer. He's a great passer. And this year, this is why I'm worried. I have the Bengals winning that division. But if Lamar's healthy that full year, with their defense, with what they're going to do on offense, regardless just because of how much of a threat he is on the ground, they are candidates to be worst to first. There's no doubt about that. I agree with that. 100%. And I feel like they have a very good chance to do so.
I agree.
So Kyler Murray was, when he got his contract from the Cardinals, they required him to study 4 hours per game week. And now we're finding out that the clause has just been revoked. But I don't think this really changes much. I think the initial reaction is still the same of, for one, why was that clause in there? And number 2, what does this say about Kyler Murray? Now, I think it's pretty ridiculous that they don't trust him this much to put that clause in there. And Kyler spoke to the media today, and he said it's disrespectful, almost a joke, that people think he can accomplish what he's accomplished without studying. Yeah. Because football is a hard game, and I agree. I think he does watch film.
You have to.
He does watch film. There's no doubt. But also in 2021, Kyler Murray, in a New York Times article, said, "I was blessed with the cognitive skills to just go out there and just see it before it happens. I'm not one of those guys that's going to sit there and kill myself watching film because in my head I see so much." Now, for one, there's never been a provision like this in a contract in NFL history. And they removed it, so now I guess technically it's not there anymore. The Cardinals must believe that his lack of studying affected his play. And that's not totally baseless because in the second half of the season, along with Cliff Kingsbury, Kyler Murray is not very good. In weeks 1 through 8, in 2019 to 2021, since Kyler's been in the league, Arizona has been 7th in EPA per play, 7th in EPA per drive, 16th in EPA per dropback. And then in weeks 9 forward, in that same amount of time span, they've been 18th in EPA per play, 18th in EPA per drive, and 24th in EPA per dropback. Kyler Murray was, against man coverage, the third worst quarterback in the NFL. 29th amongst 31 quarterbacks. He was one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. With DeAndre Hopkins, Kyler Murray saw the lowest percentage of man coverage, 18%. Still bad, though. Without D-Hop, that jumped up to 25%.
The weapons weren't good also, but I feel you. That's really bad.
But even with D-Hop, his stats against man coverage are horrible.
But he never saw it.
He saw it 80% of the time.
That's not a
And
lot,
it makes sense because you have to account for zone, so that's why there's more zone.
Yeah, of course.
This is why I wouldn't have paid Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray, it's as simple as that. Kyler Murray is somebody that, for one, for a franchise to not trust you this much to put that clause in there, one, speaks about you. Number two, for him to go on the New York Times and then say, I don't need to kill myself watching film. The best quarterbacks do, though.
Yeah. Peyton Manning
The
made a
Tom
living
Brady, the Rodgers. I'm just talking about current quarterbacks, the Russell Wilsons. They're legendary workaholics, the Joe Burrows.
You heard what Russell said today? You tell me what I have to do, I'll do it 3 times over. 100% you're right.
Kyler Murray has a nonchalant personality, laid back, cool, shades on. I'm good enough to do it without putting in the extra work. Well, what did that get you in the playoffs? It's had one of the worst playoff performances that I've ever seen. 2 picks. I mean, he played worse than all of Jimmy Garoppolo's starts in the playoffs. Kyler Murray in that one playoff game. And I'm telling you, watch the tape back, there's a lot of throws that he missed. A lot of reads he should have made that he was a half a second late to. Why? Probably because he didn't watch enough film. Now, I think the Cardinals took this clause out because of the backlash they are receiving for putting it in initially, and now the amount of jokes and embarrassment it is now putting on their franchise quarterback. That's why they took it out. But did they take it out because now they suddenly trust Kyler Murray? No. Kyler Murray is somebody that, yes, he has the talent, but his stature allows him not to see the middle of the field as good as other quarterbacks in the NFL. He's not the best quarterback at that.
Stop being heightist.
He's great outside the numbers. He's a great deep ball passer, one of the best in the NFL. There is no doubt. But when we talk about the intangibles, we talk about the work ethic, we talk about the leadership, Kyler Murray doesn't have that.
Young.
Then again, I will say this. I don't think Kyler Murray can carry teams the same way other elite level quarterbacks can. With that being said, he's still a great quarterback, and you surround him with the proper team, he can take that team very far. He just cannot be the person,
the leader,
to do it, the main guy to do it. He has to have a great roster around him, and the Cardinals don't have that this year. And that's why I think the Cardinals are going to take a huge drop off this season.
Defensively, I don't disagree. I definitely understand what you're saying about they're not going to be surrounding him with talent on that opposite side of the ball for sure. But offensively, once D-Hop comes back, you put Hollywood opposite side of him. Ertz and Kyler Murray had a lot of success down the stretch of that season once Ertz became a Cardinal. James Conner was fantastic last season. Darrell Williams is a good number 2 running back to have behind James Conner. God forbid something happens to James Conner. Darrell Williams can definitely fill in that role. Offensive line definitely still gives me concern, no doubt. I don't disagree there. But to speak about this even being in the contract itself, Kyler coming out and saying that if you don't watch film or you don't think that I watch film, it's really disrespectful and rude. I'll tell you what, I was ready to come up here and gloat about Kyler Murray having that in his clause, the fact that he's still a top 10 quarterback and he does minimal work in terms of preparing for the game. It just speaks volumes to how raw and how just how raw and how naturally Kyler Murray is just amazing at the game of football. We're talking about a guy who was a first-round draft pick in the MLB, the number 1 overall pick in NFL. This is just a natural-born athlete who was just given God-given abilities. who, to your point, 100% is just not all in on what he wants to do to a degree, in the sense of he does not go that extra mile of watching that extra hour of film because he feels like he's already above a lot of the guys at his position because he is. But you mentioned it. You don't have the playoff win, so people are automatically going to scrutinize you. You played very bad for your standards, significantly bad, significantly worse than your standards, I should say, excuse me. Of course people are going to criticize you. They criticize Lamar, who was the MVP of the league. They're going to criticize Kyler, who has no All-Pro, no MVP. Yes, he has the Pro Bowls, but again, that doesn't mean anything to me. I believe that Kyler Murray, now that there's a lot of noise, there's a lot of chatter on his character, I firmly believe in Kyler Murray, especially with the personnel that he has around him once D-Hop comes back. And even without him, I think Hollywood and him are going to be one of the best duos in the first 6 weeks of the season. Kyler Murray is just going to naturally make it work because Kyler Murray is naturally great at the sport of football. Does this speak onto his character? A little bit, but it doesn't really bother me because I understand how great he is. And I understand now that as a part of maturing and growing up, you realize, oh, this is my profession. This is what I want to do. I have a legacy to withhold. I'm going to have to put in that work. And now there's the outside noise that's going to be in his mind. And it's going to drive him. I definitely believe that. But in terms of leadership, he's not the most in terms of intangibles, no, I agree. That comes with time. But I do firmly believe as you grow older, you start to develop certain characteristics of that. And I think that he is young, yes. He has time to develop, though. The fact that he's statistically among the best in the league, he has one of the best arms in the league, he's one of the best mobile threats in the league. This raw, this natural, you just have to do nothing but acknowledge that and appreciate that. But going forward, no doubt, he's going to go the extra mile. I believe it.
Being a nonchalant person myself, I understand exactly what Joel was talking about. Not the intangibles are important for a quarterback. Tom Brady, he isn't the most talented, has the intangibles. Aaron Rodgers, to a degree, has the intangibles. Pat Mahomes, talent and intangibles. Russell Wilson has those intangibles. The winners have those intangibles.
Agreed.
You know, even going back to Joe Montana, John Elway, you know what I'm saying? So it's like intangibles are important, especially for that position, because technically quarterbacks are usually the leaders of the team. They're the guys who lead the charge. They make things go. They're the start of the train. So I think Kyler Murray not having that is okay right now because he's young. The franchise is young. They've been relevant for the past couple seasons, so they're just getting back under their feet. But at the same time, it is for him to say it's disrespectful for them to put it in the clause. I get it, but for them to have to actually put that in the like,
he was saying it's disrespectful that people think he doesn't watch film.
How many? But I feel like
he admitted it though in 2021.
No, for sure. But he doesn't watch. He's not a film junkie. That's the quote. He's not a film junkie.
How many times has a franchise ever done this?
I don't disagree. No,
That's
almost never.
The fact that they have to do that means you're not locked in all the way.
Yeah.
And I think when you have that type of ability, you should maximize it to the best of your potential. Kyler Murray has a special talent. He is one of the most talented quarterbacks in the league.
Absolutely.
You should maximize that. Go be a film junkie.
100%.
I understand it's more to life than football, but this is your job. I mean, when you got that type of talent, I feel like you should maximize it, especially when you have an opportunity in Arizona to maybe not win it all right now, but you have the opportunity to build something there and possibly down the road compete for a Super Bowl. You know, last year they had an opportunity. Like you said, they was elite in the beginning of the season. Him, D-Hop, AJ Green looked revived. You know, the offense was running. Then boom, second half hits. It got weird, nasty, and garbage from the moment on. This is the second year that's happened. So they're not maximizing. Kyler's not maximizing his ability, but it's also up to the front office too. You got to put your guy in check, and I think they kind of did that when we found out that
definitely.
But now they taking it out. It's kind of like, all right, but Kyler has to be better. Like him personally, he has to get better.
I want to say one thing before you go, King. The Cardinals embarrassed Kyler Murray. This is embarrassing on Kyler Murray without a doubt, but this is more so an indictment on the Arizona Cardinals. The fact that they put their franchise quarterback in this position to have this news leaked, to have this even enter his mind that people are going to take this and just toss it right in his face and use it as scrutiny, that's irresponsible on the Arizona Cardinals. Yes, you have Kyler Murray who maybe could watch more film. Fine, I agree. He said it himself. But at the same time, how are you as an organization going to allow a thing like that to enter the public where Kyler Murray's already facing scrutiny off the playoff game that he just had. And he's facing scrutiny off the stuff that's happening on social media where he removed all the Arizona Cardinals stuff. Not only that, there's already that aroma in the air with all the things going on with Kyler Murray. Now on top of this, organization could have easily kept this hush-hush. You allow the contract details to be leaked out in the sense of Kyler Murray needs to take 4 hours a week to study film. Like, that is just so disgusting and just speaks volumes to the Arizona Cardinals front office. That really does make me sick. I'm with you. It comes down to Kyler Murray for sure that needs to put in the work, but also it comes down to a point where we need to look at the Arizona Cardinals themselves and think, what were you thinking?
Where's the personal accountability on Kyler Murray's part, though?
And
His agent and him signed the contract. He signed it. He agreed to those terms.
No doubt. But then it got leaked.
Okay, but he agreed to those terms, so he put himself in that position to be embarrassed, knowing it could very well be leaked. This stuff does happen.
I guess.
So if he thought it was so disrespectful for fans to think that he's not watching film, why didn't he feel that way about the organization and counter and say, I'm not signing until this clause is removed?
He became the second highest paid quarterback.
What if he did?
Well, it's a lot of money, but do you honestly believe that was make or break in the contract, or they weren't giving him the deal?
It was accountability of him to sign it in the first place, don't you think? The fact that they believed you needed to take 4 hours a week to put into film, and he had no problem with doing so because he probably already puts in at least 4 hours a week.
I think he looked at it, he felt the disrespect, but then he saw the money, and he was just like, whatever. Like, I ain't, and then when the story came out, then it's like, all right, now
you're embarrassing me as a man. The organization that's supposed to have my back is embarrassing me and ruining my character.
He was already embarrassed when it came out.
Exactly.
There's so many. He just wasn't going to come out and say it.
He also did some things that were not ideal in practice. I mean, deleting all your stuff.
Debo did that.
I mean, but you're the quarterback of a team. You're deleting
is the best player on that team.
You're deleting all of your stuff, Arizona Cardinals related, on your social media. Then not only that, but your agent comes out in the offseason with a whole freaking letter about how Kyler should get paid, and this is why, something that is very odd for somebody to do. Like, Kyler Murray has had his fair share in lapses and embarrassing moments this offseason that was not Arizona Cardinals related, or they did not inflict that upon him.
No, for sure.
Kyler Murray's his actions are what started and what pushed the Cardinals forward into now feeling pressure to give him a deal.
But deservedly so.
I mean, deservedly so. But Kyler Murray was also willing, in my opinion, to not show up to camp, to not be in these drills.
Is he the first one ever to do that?
Unless if we're talking about quarterbacks.
Is he the first one ever?
He's not the first one ever, but is he one of the first elite guys? I believe so. Lamar Jackson is currently in camp practice, and he doesn't have a new deal yet.
Listen, we know Lamar is a different beast. And that's what
Lamar's even better. He's going to get an even bigger contract than Kyler.
He's being smart about it, for sure.
And he's still showing up and being a leader.
Shout out to him.
Yeah. So I'm saying, where's the personal accountability on Kyler Murray's part?
He took accountability by signing that contract in the first place.
So now that it gets leaked, it's Arizona Cardinals irresponsible.
It is.
It's blasphemous. It's all this and that.
I don't appreciate that. Yeah. It is a little bit of both, because I'm acknowledging it is embarrassing on Kyler. I'm sure he's super embarrassed.
That shouldn't have got leaked.
And that's going to do it for episode 198 of the Pick a Side podcast. You can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Pick a Side Podcast, and on Twitter at Pick a Side Pod. Thank you guys for listening and you're watching, and we'll see you next time.